Hey, Bruce.
Howdy.
Hey, good morning.
Morning, Keith.
Keith, did you ever get figured out to log into the that ACC spreadsheet?
No, I was unable to, and I had a email into Susie, and hoping to hear. Well, I guess we'll hear from her shortly, but I guess I'll figure it out after the meeting.
Okay. Yeah, it's handy to have. You can add all kinds of info to it to pass back and forth that way. Well, I'm hoping Chad gets on. I really appreciate him when we're going through these homes.
Yeah. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience, so it'd be good to have him on board this morning. And I'm kind of shooting in the dark here, so I'll just be listening along and just going along with what you got.
Okay.
Can you hear
Morning,
me?
Susie.
I can hear you.
Okay,
That was
great.
Florida.
We've got an emergency tree removal this morning on a granite circle.
Emergency.
Wind-related?
Oh, with this wind, it's starting to come down.
Yeah.
Oh. And let me guess, there's a
Make a
house
motion
somewhere.
to approve.
Yeah.
I'll second that. Hey, Susie, John was saying that you might have a camera that I may be able to borrow for a little while.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. I'll hook up with you after the meeting sometime today and maybe get that from you.
Perfect, thank you.
Hey, Joel.
Morning. Morning, Tom. Hey, Bruce. Keith.
I guess I'll be ramrodding this one this time till Keith can get his camera set up and gets a better chance to connect to that spreadsheet. He was having trouble getting that connecting to the spreadsheet.
Yeah, Susie, is that something that you set up, or is that John that'll set? I can't get into the spreadsheet.
So I think the ACC meeting spreadsheet, is that the one?
Yeah.
What's the email address that's having trouble getting into it?
Well, I was trying to use my regular Yahoo address, but I sent you an email last night from a request from my Gmail.
Okay, let's see.
Karen, I'm seeing double.
Well, hopefully she'll get video this week.
Yeah.
Hey, look at there.
Hi, guys.
Hey, there you go.
Morning.
Are you logged in twice? You got a black square up too.
Yeah, let me,
Trying to use as much bandwidth as you can.
no, that didn't work out well last time. Wait. Okay, I think the other one's gone.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fine.
What about Norm? Anybody heard anything from Norm?
No.
So what counts as a quorum here? Was it 4 or 5?
4. Yeah, the interim GM asked the lawyer and said that the full seats, the majority of the full seats is enough for a quorum. So, because we're missing a couple, that's 4 now.
Okay.
Did he say anything about the tree protection on neighboring lots? That was an interesting point he brought up.
I haven't asked him yet, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. What's the order for communication flow? Do we need to all go through Keith, who then goes to the GM, or?
I think any of us as a Sun
Well, that's
Valley
the question.
member.
That's the
can
question.
communicate.
I'm thinking that it might need to funnel through the chair for communication flows on those. Susie, do you know?
That's gonna be a great question for Glenn, but I have a feeling he's gonna want it to go through the chair. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking
Except
I
any
saw
of us-
that.
If any of us makes clear that we're speaking only on our own behalf, we're not trying to speak for the committee.
I think
then
it has
as a-
more to do with workflow
Yeah.
as far as employees go.
Yeah,
And
but
then-
we funnel through Glenn, right? We don't have to funnel through a different Sun Valley.
You can definitely always go to Glenn.
Yeah, I think all of us need to run everything through Keith though, and then he contacts Glenn, right? Or am I wrong on that?
I don't think that affects anything.
Since this can only be resolved through the ACC, I would think it has to stay an ACC matter.
Well, that's what I mean. Keith is our chair
Right.
for ACC. I'm just
It needs to
thinking.
be resolved quickly if it's a problem.
Yeah, I just remembered something about a communication flow thing that was supposed to be, and I thought that was what it was.
Yeah.
That was my recollection through Noel, is everything had to run through Noel, and Noel took it forward from there. But as a private community member, like Karen's suggesting, then that's something I guess she could address directly, but not through the ACC. It would be as a private.
Okay, well, that sounded like something that the ACC should be aware of. So I was thinking maybe through direct channels, so we had a record of it, but okay. So I'm missing Chad. Really wanted him to show up for this. Okay. We got a quorum. It's 9:07, so call the meeting to order.
I'll second.
Okay. And don't know if do we need to vote on that? Okay, we vote on. Everybody wants to
the
meet.
chair can just do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sooner the better. I'm sure we're going to be here a while again.
Okay, so our agenda for today is the remaining new construction. Is there anything else that needs to be added? No? Then I don't know if we need to approve that because that order was approved when we started last time. So
No.
let's go ahead and proceed. And Joel, I think our next one is at the reading it around the corner. Number 20, North 19 Stable Lane. Can you present that one?
Here we go. So this is Will Sapchuk. He's here with us in the meeting as an attendee.
Hi, Will, you have the ability to talk now.
Hello.
Hi.
So I'm just going to go through some of the comments we've got here. Let's see. So this was one that we've gone back and forth. we are awaiting still some updated plans from the architect based on some of the ACC comments. But he says they'll be addressed during the meeting today. So comment from Bruce, stormwater treatment plan not on the site plan. Yeah, that's something that we had in our conversation. And I don't know if that is that something we're able to add?
On the site plan, the stormwater?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had a question. It says if this is a Sudden Valley, does that mean like the Sudden Valley stormwater, the Wilson stormwater system, or what does that last
No.
sentence of number 5 mean?
No, I think what we want is to see everything on one page. And you have a design, I believe, that was done by Axe Engineering.
Yeah.
And where that is only on their sheet. So
Yeah.
we were noticing that buried propane tanks seem to be in some cases, in the same place. And so it's nice to have everything on one site plan so that you can make sure nothing isn't trying to occupy the same space. So that's all it was.
Okay.
On this one, the propane tank, I believe, is in the yard, and the stormwater is under the driveway. So we should be clear on that one.
Yeah, this one is maybe not so important, but a lot of them, it was hard to tell whether everything was going to fit,
Well, so in this case, is it necessary for him to put it on? He's really busy. He's not liking these two-day turnarounds. He says he doesn't have time. I mean, if we can narrow down the list,
Yeah, this one, if it's under the driveway, I'm thinking,
I mean,
yeah, I don't think there was a
Yeah, I don't think it's critical. Let's just
conflict.
try to get it on next time so everything's where we can see it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We'll make sure it's in place. That's one of our inspections, to inspect the stormwater system. And I mean, obviously it can't be in the same place as the propane tank, but future submissions should have it on the site plan. All right, let's see what's next here.
Karen must have something on that one.
Yeah, I'm looking for Karen's comments. They come in through the email.
Yeah, I'm going to try to change that with the next batch.
So I'm searching through my email here. Here we go. Where is it? Are these from last? These must be from last week. Okay, here they are. Oh yeah, a survey should identify each species of tree. And I did, Will, I did pass these comments along to you. Is that correct?
yeah.
And you're working on them. So a lot of these are minor things that we can take care of.
Yeah, I think the tree species is mainly a comment for future submittals.
Mhm. So we'll make sure we have those
Yeah,
before we move forward.
that you not just say conifer, you say,
Right.
Fir or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, conifer or deciduous is not a species. I've seen that on another plan.
True.
Yeah. And,
The
and
big
also,
one- oh, go ahead.
if they don't identify the species, it's easier for them to make a mistake, because we noticed at 19 Stable Lane that a couple of conifers were actually alders.
Mhm. Let's see here.
Anyway,
Correct
that's
screen sharing.
that's more of a future comment, I think, right now. For
Um,
mine.
One of the bigger issues here is the driveway slope again. And I think there's a variance put in for the driveway, preemptive variance. We have kind of the same issue here that we talked about with last week's 38 Valley Crest. The driveway was too steep initially. We asked him to take it down. So he's at the 14 degrees, which is the maximum slope. At this point, last week we said he could go to 16 degrees and add some steps, and that would be his variance.
Yeah, since then, I took a look, and the 16 degrees only gives him 1.5 feet. So I don't know.
Well, is this
With-
something that
with-
we,
Yeah. With the current plan, though, we have, it's meeting the requirements, all right? Can we go forward with the current plan? Or do we need to, I'm not into the preemptive variance thing.
as far as I'm concerned, the plan does meet their requirements. We'll have to hold them to it when, if it does get built and if the driveway is steeper, then there would be.
Well, I mean, I have the same issue with the back right-hand corner, and the dirt's gonna be the top of the top of the foundation wall. It's gonna be below the dirt, and I'm trying to eliminate possibly the 4-foot retaining wall in the back, just because I'm worried that I might get within the drip line of the trees that we're trying to save. So I figured if you guys settle, I requested 18-foot variance. If we can do 17 with steps, I'd be able to get away with one retaining wall and not disturb any native material in the back. So that'd probably save us 10 feet of disturbance. And it would help out the foundation so that the right-hand corner is a little bit above. So I did the calculation. So for a 17 degree slope, that would put the slab height at 114.7 feet. And that'd put the top of the wall at, sorry, wrong one. So it would put the slab height at 115.75 and the top of the wall in the back at 125.
The trees that are being proposed already to be removed are,
So the 24-inch,
this 24-inch, these two here.
yeah. And I was gonna take the tree down, but leave the stumps in so we don't disturb the trees behind it. Just so that way, when we start digging for the retaining wall, because the trees are leaning like pretty bad towards the road. So I was worried when I dig that out, it might fall over and then maybe cause the ones behind them to get disrupted.
Yeah, those, I think, I agree, those should be removed. They're too close to the work.
Yeah, and I'll keep the stumps there so I don't have to dig a hole and possibly disturb the 24-inch behind it and the 16 and whatever, the 3 in the back, the very back.
So we're proposing to additionally remove these 3 trees.
No, those stay. Just the ones highlighted in red, and the stumps will stay in the ground. So that way we don't disturb the roots of the 3 behind. And then we'll eliminate, if we go up to 17 degree slope, we'll eliminate the retaining wall in the back. So that way we don't get too much into the native soils in the back. So we'll have just one 8 to 10 foot retaining wall there right by the deck.
Okay. So these trees in red are already proposed to be removed on the stormwater plan site. I don't see an issue there.
That's with the current, plan of meeting all our requirements, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Is he proposing to change from the average 14 degree on the driveway to 17 then?
I requested 18 and I was hoping if you guys, I mean, this lot is much steeper and building those that 4-foot retaining wall in the back, I mean, it's just, I don't know how we backfill it. And plus, I mean, I don't want to disturb the trees that are outside my property line. I'd have to get a big machine back there to backfill that 4-foot retaining wall. So I'd have to drive on the easement area on the left side, which is the Southern Valley right away, or on the other side, which is the neighbor's side. I don't think they would appreciate that.
Well, if you're just talking about backfill, you wouldn't need a big machine.
No.
Well, I mean,
And a better type of retaining wall, if it's only 4 feet, is a block wall or a rockery, where you don't have to put in a whole footing. It's much less disturbing to the,
yeah, but I mean that 8 to 10 foot retaining wall there would have to get poured.
Okay, I'm having a little trouble here following what we're doing. We've got a set of plans right now that's being presented that meets our requirements, and now we're discussing changing it to something that doesn't.
Well, the architect didn't have time to change it, and said after we decide on what the driveway slope will be, he'll correct all these comments that Karen gave to us, and he wasn't able to get it in before the meeting today. So it's the same thing as last time for 38 Valley Crest Way. We're just, I mean, I request a variance just in case we hit hard rock, and after looking at this some more, it just, there's, I mean, I think we're gonna, we need a couple more degrees, even though it doesn't give us more, but it really helps us out in the back. And these retaining walls, it just, there's so many of them, and then once we pour the U-shaped retaining wall, we won't be able to get the machine back behind the house to.
well, I think you'd want to do the retaining wall before you while you're excavating for the house, so you can put your equipment in the footprint of the house to do the work behind the house.
Well,
It's the only way I see equipment working there. To go from inside the house excavation and work that way. There's no way that you're going to put equipment up on that slope above. And you don't have room for it on either side.
So we don't want to give a preemptive variance here. And so the normal course of construction would be, you build the house as to the plans with the 14-degree driveway, and then, with your retaining wall as they are. And then if something during the course of construction does happen, like you hit rock, like you're saying you are worried you might do, then the proposed changes would have to go through the ACC for approval again. Does that sound correct?
well, that would take too much time out of the summer to go through that whole process. And I mean, at this point, I'm requesting a variance.
But at the same time, we've got another case of a house that doesn't fit the lot.
Well, what house would fit the lot? I mean, this one, there's no issue with the dual slope. It's just steep. You're not going to build a 12-foot retaining wall down there. I mean,
Yeah, the house could be a little less deep. It's 32 feet, for a garage, you don't need the full 32 feet. But I agree that with this sloped lot, you could do a little better. Like I said, either have it stepped foundation or something, but really the garage should be at least 22 feet deep, I would think. So yeah, you could have done a little better, but it's not the same situation as the other one where most of the slope was transverse. And so a split level would have been great.
I mean, the steeper the lot, the steeper the driveway has to be. That there's no way to go about it. I mean, you can see where the natural, the current curve, the soil is. I mean, to the foundation, that's what, like 15, 20 feet that we have to dig down. I mean, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, if you made your house like some of the others I've seen where it's either stepped foundation or the whole house is just wide and not deep, like just the garage front to back, that 24 feet or so deep, that would work better.
This is
You
the
know.
same house blueprint as last week too at 38 Valley Crest.
Yeah,
It's identical.
and because the slope on Valley Crest was different, was more transverse, it would have been easier to put a split level there. Here it's front to back. So, this could have been done better.
Well, this
But
is a split level.
No, it's a split entry. The whole floor, bottom floor is on the same level. You have to excavate and pour a slab on the same level for the whole footprint. So a split level is a great design for a flat lot. I mean, a split entry. But an actual split level would have different foundations, at different foundation heights for different parts of the floor plan, which would have been better for 38 Valley Crest. Here, I don't know.
Well, are you guys willing to compromise? I mean, I'll add steps along the driveway, just like on 38 Southern Valley Drive. What seems fair to you guys? I mean, I figured if it's a steeper lot, then if we can do 1 degree more than the last one that we settled on.
I really wish I could, have sample driveways to drive up and down that had this geometry before we approve things.
I mean, from 16 to 17, I think he only adds a foot. I mean, which is not going to be so noticeable, but it really helps with the situation in the back.
A foot over how long a distance?
The distance is almost 52 feet from the road to the front porch.
Of which some of this is a transition. So that's a 43-foot distance net when you take out the 9 feet at the bottom and the 3.5 feet at the bottom, at the top, which have to be, transitions.
Well, as
So
the
you-
plans are right now, it meets the requirements. So do we?
I would be willing to go with the current, with what was submitted. All this stuff on the side here just doesn't, if the submitted plans wasn't gonna work, then they shouldn't have been submitted.
Agreed. Yeah, I can go with what's been submitted here, but if there's changes in the works that are going to increase that slope, and we've already done this once. When do we say enough's enough?
Well, I mean, this is a variance form, right, that you guys provide.
Wait, yeah.
I
But
mean,
there-
I'm
Your
asking for-
drawings have to match the rules.
Variance is not an automatic request. The plan should come in and match the rules.
Well, I mean, we got these notes like 2 days before the meeting. I mean, the architect's 3 weeks out. He didn't have time to change it. I mean, he said to figure out what the slope is, the final slope is going to be, and he'll send the final prints, because we've already went back and forth so many times.
And then I went to ask you yesterday.
So the current, I believe the current plans show garage slab elevation 114.5, is it?
The garage slab is 112.
112. Actually, you can go to 114, I thought, with the meeting all the requirements. I did a calculation. And at 25%, 114.5 is what I calculated out. Now, you don't need the drain swale at the bottom, which you're not showing anyway, if you just put a strip drain. So I think you can put the garage slab at 114.5 and still meet our 25% max.
What's the run that you used?
Um,
How, from the road to where?
56 feet from the edge of pavement to face of garage.
And that gives you 114.
Yeah, the average elevation at the, where the driveway meets the road pavement. From the survey, I got 101.
So Karen, are you suggesting eliminating that semi-level portion just before the garage and just making it a single straight line down to the street?
No.
That would
Our
help. wouldn't it?
standards, I don't think he needs that. If 114.5 as a garage slab elevation can be workable, then he does not need a driveway variance, I don't think.
Well, with the 17-degree slope that I calculated, I was shooting for a slab elevation of 115.75. So what variance would that require me? Is that 15 degrees or 15.5? Based on your, I don't know how you're getting your numbers. I'm getting lower values.
So you want 115.75?
What percent does that get me? Or degree?
About 28%, which I think is about the same. Let's see.
What is that in degrees? 28 divided by 1.7.
But I don't feel we should be re-engineering his plans or his house here. If he's not ready to submit, then he should be bringing these back when he's ready to submit. If it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that's not really our problem here.
I think
Well,
the 16 degrees that we gave on the other one.
Can we do 16 degrees? I mean, I'm trying to eliminate that 4-foot retaining wall. That's going to be really hard to backfill. And I'm trying to keep the concrete and concrete with cedar planks on the face of them instead of Allen blocks on the upper side. And plus I have to dig really deep. I know I'm going to hit hard rock here. This slope is significantly more than the other one. So can we do 16 degrees driveway with the steps on the side?
I think that would give you the slab elevation that you were talking about, 115.75. Whether that would be good enough to solve your problems, I haven't tried to figure out.
Well, it would really help a lot. I mean, this plan works, but it just, the more I think about it, it's going to be really tough. And I know I'm going to hit hard rock. I mean, the main reason why I submitted this variance is that if I hit hard rock and can't go any lower, I'm going to have to adjust the slab height.
Well, what would we like to?
You can excavate into
propose?
rock, but I agree it's very slow.
So I know things being hard is part of building in Sudden Valley too, digging into rock.
My problem here is if we keep allowing these changes, we got to do it for everybody. So we either have to change the requirements in the book or just say, no, this doesn't meet the requirements, fix it.
I agree.
Well, the plans I've submitted do meet the requirements. That's
Agreed.
the thing. That's just.
I agree.
Yeah, so I think the question on the table is, do we want to grant this preemptive variance? And it sounds like no.
I'm not up to that.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Well,
We gotta make
what
these
if I hit-
contractors make these things work.
Well, what if I hit hard rock? Can I get pre-approved in that case and I can't go any lower? Just for that case situation?
The thing is, hitting hard rock is not an automatic kill.
I already know I'm gonna need to get a hydraulic brake in here.
Yeah, on the waterfront, they spent like 2 months, I think it felt like anyway, excavating in hard rock because the owners wanted the crawl space. which I thought was nuts, but they did it.
It certainly increases your costs.
Well, we have a limited time. I mean, time is the biggest thing.
Well, if you have limited time, then let's just approve it as is, and you can start moving your dirt and deal with the rock when you get to it. You know, we can't keep giving these changes.
Yeah. Did
We
you
have
do
rules for
soils?
a reason.
Did you do soil borings, you know, in the, pretty much the four corners of the house?
Good question.
What's that?
Did you have a geotech investigation where they
Yes,
told you
one of
where the
the
rock was
things-
at the four corners?
Yeah, I had the report done right after the survey. That's needed for the stormwater design.
But did it do all four corners of the house?
I haven't read the report. I mean, I just passed it on to the stormwater engineer.
Yeah, I think these investigations should include, you know, trying to discover the rock depth within the footprint of the house, which I don't think needs complicated equipment. You know, one thing they do is they pound a rod in. But another thing they do is they have these handheld drills or hand operated drills. You know, it's one thing to investigate where you're going to put the stormwater system, but it should also be investigated how far down the rock actually is before you design a house.
I mean, the rock, it starts with soft rock and then it gets into hard rock, and it's kind of hard for them to figure out, you know, where the hard rock is. But anyways, okay.
Yeah, you know, the rock could cover the whole footprint, or it could cover, you know, half the footprint, quarter. We don't know.
Yeah, ideally you'd have a geotech, you know, once you're tentatively thinking about where you're putting your house, have them go out there and drill at the back, you know, at several places, just to discover, you know, where they hit refusal, so to speak.
So can I make a motion to approve as submitted right now?
Well, we have more comments to discuss.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of the other things are minor, but you know, the driveway slope with the variance, that was kind of the big one. You know, showing the stormwater again, the landscaping, the full schedule of proposed plantings, number and spacing of species. Part of that, I think, let's see, the landscaping plan, you know, comes from, part of it is designed by the stormwater, taking into account how much native and landscaping there will be. They do have species in the plant legend.
But they need to show for within the clearing limits, which plants where and how many, you know, how far apart, especially for the sprinkle throughout type plants like the ground covers.
Mhm.
They're only showing certain areas with landscaping, but the native plants have to be everywhere where they're digging up, you know, within the clearing limits, except for the allowance that the designer gives them, which I agree, those are ridiculously small, it seems like to me, but that's what the designer says. 148 square feet of landscaping for this one. So everything else should be put back with native plants, I guess. So that's all sides of the house, right? Left, right, back, everywhere,
Mhm. I would like to see some,
even right behind the house.
yeah. I would like to see on the plan, like where it does say native and where landscaping vegetation will be.
Even if it's just in
Fields.
zones, yeah.
But I think, I think our landscaping language and the ACC policies could be cleaned up if we want to say we need the number, the number of species and those, because I couldn't find the specifics in the policies unless there's somewhere else I don't see,
Comes up, just let me know.
but
Okay.
Well, the architect's working on it. I just thought the county was the only one that inspected the landscaping. This is the first year Sudden Valley's inspecting landscaping, so, and the county has their calculator there that we go by. And like
but
I said,
we don't have a landscaping inspection that's beyond our final inspection.
yes, so what's, if the county signs off on it and looks for a certain amount of plants, why is it so critical for you guys? I mean,
Ours,
they approved
It's an erosion.
this.
who's up?
It's an erosion issue for us and a stormwater quantity issue for us. So we care also.
Well,
We want,
Right.
I mean, I don't know if phosphorus is our issue so much, but these landscaping plans we've had in the past where there's virtually no plants, it's just all mulch. There's no plants to absorb rainwater, there's no plants to reduce erosion, and that affects Sun Valley's infrastructure, the ditches and culverts. And it also affects downhill property, a lot of water in our yards that we didn't used to have. So we have a requirement for a landscape plan. We don't specify exactly what in our policies, exactly what needs to be in there. But we're happy for now to follow the county's requirements.
But we
And
do-
the county provides a calculator. People use it, I believe, to come up.
Now, I would also like to start seeing neighboring trees, because we know that there is a contractor in Sun Valley that has no problem undercutting
That's two.
trees on neighboring properties.
To be
And those
determined.
have to be protected.
Mhm.
In fact, I would like the address of the problem on Granite Way, because I'd like to go up and take a look at it and see what caused it.
Because what?
What caused this tree to fail? On Granite Way that Susie was talking about, the emergency removal.
Mhm.
Were you here then, Karen?
No.
Oh, yeah, they have an emergency tree removal on Granite Way. And I know that Granite has been in our meeting minutes recently. I don't remember what it was for. It may have been new construction last week in the,
I'll let you guys know as soon as I hear anything.
okay, thanks, Susie.
No problem.
Okay, next, so just a recap on the landscaping plan. We've always required a landscaping plan, and it's also because we're supposed to be reviewing, making sure everything looks right and fits into the neighborhood. And we've been slowly with the county updating their native plants requirement list. So at the very least, we need to know what zones are being planted to what, and if it's using the county's list, and all we need to do is know what the county's list is and where it's going, but we still need to have it identified.
Yeah, the architect's currently working on that. He'll put in the quantities and the clearing boundaries, so.
Yeah.
Like I said, he only got 2-day notice and he's.
Yeah, that's something that can be presented to Joel before things start up. Do we have, Joel, are we missing anything else?
The trees in the front for the sewer connection
Oh, these trees here.
and the temporary culvert there for temporary parking.
Yeah, so these two trees here that I think are going to will need to be removed for our sewer connection. The sewer, and they were not originally on I think on the stormwater, well, sorry. They were originally not on the tree canopy plan marked for removal. So we went and rolled out where where the estimated sewer T was. And it's right about somewhere in front of these trees. I've got a photo of it.
Yeah,
So I
got
think,
it.
I think it's more to the left.
I
If
think
you
it's
have
these two trees.
I requested for all four because I mean, I'm probably gonna get in the drip line of all four and then plus the temporary parking there. If you guys are concerned about roots suffocating, that's an alder right there, that 36-inch. And they have a shallow root base. They tend to fall the most. So I'd be really concerned about the alder there.
Yeah, that you have to go to where the T is. They don't let you play otherwise. So I have no problem with those coming out. If you're gonna take out 2 trees in a grouping, just as soon see them all come out so we don't set up wind throw.
Mm,
The ditch looks like on that picture looks like something that should play into creating a temporary parking spot. That looks like that shouldn't be a problem. Joel, your opinion?
I don't think so, as long as it's cleaned up and revegetated. And we'll be inspecting
Is
for
this the
that.
one where, which is the one where the neighbor had that apron that led to
Oh.
nowhere?
Was that this one?
I don't remember.
Doesn't sound familiar to me.
It kind of reminds me of that. There's one of these that we went out to that the neighbor has a false start where they moved the driveway just over to it'd be to the left of that picture. And it just kind of goes up into his, just a beginning, kind of a steep driveway up that goes nowhere. And it sounds like if you talk to him, he'd be happy to let people park there. Of course, he'd probably want to try to talk you into tearing it out and getting rid of it on your way out, which is something you can deal with him on.
Well, the problem here is the concrete trucks and the pump trucks. They're gonna be sitting on the road and we're gonna have to close the road out unless we get that temporary parking there.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that's something in addition to you might be able to work with the neighbor on, if this is the one we're thinking of.
The neighbor on the left or on the right?
Be on the left.
Okay.
Uphill.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's just
Okay,
something
well-
between you and him, but I see no problem with looking at the way that picture was for temporary parking on the side, as long as it's cleaned up and re-vegged after.
Okay.
Yeah, and since the sewer line has to go through there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. we're gonna have to- Maybe we should require some replanting, I don't know. Afterward.
Mhm.
Tree replanting.
Yeah, with
Sure.
ACC.
I mean,
like to-
what's fair since these have to go anyways? I mean, one tree for every tree that I remove is four fine for you guys.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. I don't know why the county requires 3. It's like, where do you put them?
Well, they require 2 if you remove one that didn't need to be removed.
Yeah.
So that's their punishment.
I think
Well,
one
and
for
they
one.
have a 5,000 square foot maximum, but you have some trees in the back, I guess. So yeah, I mean, it would be nice if you could replant a tree
Tree replanting required.
for each. Maybe
Well,
someone.
everything
have to
else
be big ones.
in regards to height, we're in the height definition too. We're at 18 feet. We're at 31.2% property coverage, 58% of open space remaining.
Yeah, height requirements look good to me.
We're within the setbacks.
Sounds good. Tom, do you want to make your motion now?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve as currently submitted with no variance.
And with comments,
And
plans to be revised to reflect comments.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
one
that's
other
in-
comment I had was the retaining wall in back. You know, be careful about matching existing ground at the side property lines. So I think that retaining wall or retaining walls needs to be C-shaped, not just straight line.
Yeah, I see that. I think we're gonna have to do that to match.
And
I'll second that motion.
Okay. And that is including the temporary parking and stuff, I believe, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay, all in favor, since all we can see is Joel, say aye.
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 Sound like I heard 3 people. Are we missing anybody? Yeah, I can't see anybody but Tom raising his finger.
Which one?
Aaron, aye.
Okay,
Keith,
anybody
It
opposed?
sounded unanimous, Bruce.
Okay, thank you. So on to the next.
All right. Oops. What's next on the list here? We are looking at 70. So you want to start with 77 Valley Crest?
Yeah, do 77 Valley Crest.
So we're on a different builder here. This is Aero Construction. Got a long home. And I think it was, let me check. It was requested, we may have I don't know, do we have the builder and the architect here? It doesn't look like it. I don't see any other attendees in the meeting. I recommended they be here today for this meeting, and the architect asked me if they could join, and I said they are, it's publicly available, sure. I can send them the link. It doesn't look like anyone's here right now.
I did send some comments kind of last minute yesterday.
I got a chance to look at those. A lot of small issues on this one again, and when I sat down with the bill, and it's a little frustrating to me that these builders are coming in with plans that are not, they're not reading the ACC policies. This house, as we go through the plans, there's several variances that have been, I think were originally requested, but I think they've shifted the house a little bit to fit inside of the setback lines. Let's take a look here. So our original plan set here had an extension into so we have a 20-foot setback on either side of the lot, the front and the side yard. This comes into focus. So we had some intrusion here and some intrusion here by the chimney chase. And I think they're gonna put in multiple variances for that. And I think there was also a variance for, I think possibly the driveway. So it looks like they've come back and updated the plans, and they're maybe inches into the.
Yeah, it looks okay though.
Yeah, and then it looks like they're still asking for a variance for this chimney chase, just pokes out here. The eave projection is within the 5-foot setback line. Let me try to draw it a little bit better.
How much are we sticking out there? It looks like
1 foot.
how much?
1 foot.
1 foot.
Yeah.
And that's for about 3 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
3 or 4 feet, I think.
I don't think it even goes down to the ground, right? It's like a bump
Is that
out.
now our only variance?
Let me see here. I didn't upload the variance requests on here. We've got in the drive.
And I'm not really finding an elevation that's dimensioned, other than the site profile. It's a very back finished grade, but I can't read the dimension. It won't. It's blurry. So, at that point, he would have a 20-foot max, and I'm not sure what it says.
Oh, so for the height requirement on this one, let's see. For the definition 2, we're within it. We're at 16 feet 7 inches.
And where are you reading this? I've looked all through his elevations and stuff, and I don't see any place where it's showing the height to finished grade.
I know, and this is something that I've asked them to put on future builds to show that dimension on their plans. This is a measurement I put it up on the drafting table, and I'm measuring with the engineering rulers.
I think this one actually did show it.
Can you go to the site profile, Joel?
Where is that?
The site profile?
A1.1, sheet A1.1 at the top.
Should be on all the elevations.
There it is.
They did put it in. Okay.
Yeah, it's there, but it's not readable.
You have to zoom in.
It should
I
pop
do
into
this
focus here in
before.
just a moment. There we go.
There, oh, that's better. Okay, 16.7.
Mhm.
That's better.
Well, what else do I have in my notes here?
Yeah, if we could get it to show up like they did for 28 Hillside Place, I'd be happy. Because they actually did a good job of showing both sides on the height on the 28 Hillside Place. If that could become the example, which looked like it was fairly simply done.
Would you like to see? Is that something you'd like to see on the plans, Bruce? Is a height definition, those dimensions on the high and low slope?
Height to finish grade on an elevations at some place to show both sides.
Sure.
That makes it very, very straightforward.
Yeah, I kind of like if they only show the one they're using because they can choose. But
They can choose, but it's handy. It's nice to be able to see where they're at both sides.
Mhm. Okay. So a couple issues on this one. Stormwater looked like it was going to run through the tree roots, and we talked about this in our conversation. I think they have their proposed stormwater plan to run all the way down here and hit all these trees. And I asked him to, why are they doing this? Why don't you just reroute the stormwater? Just go out to this ditch up here instead. And they agreed. He says, yeah, that would make the most sense.
yeah, one thing they show on some of the others that they don't show on this one is how the downhill downspouts, presumably the house needs some downspouts at the end down near the low side of the property. How are those going to get tied into the treatment trench?
That question came up too, and I think that's been proposed. He's going to pump, and similar to, I think it's the Green Hill, they're going to have to pump up the stormwater from that lower corner of the house. So we're talking about down here where the gutters drain. We've got to pump uphill to get into the stormwater treatment system. So that's going to be proposed on a new plan set. Let me find.
Yeah, I wonder why they can't move this treatment system downhill.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, but it should be out of the trees root zones that are remaining, because we have our new inspection schedule where we're going to put up the tree protection fencing, and then they're not allowed to do anything in that area.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, I'm pulling up comments I want to address some of your comments now.
So yeah, the same comment about the landscaping plan. They really shouldn't need to show plants in the areas that they're not disturbing, but they do need to show them within the clearing limits. And for this one, they didn't show the clearing limits in the front yard. The clearing on the site plan, the clearing limit line just sort of ended in the middle of nowhere, and it should come all the way around the house. And it should avoid those tree root zones.
Right, and so I'm going to follow up with them and make sure that they attempt to remove that stormwater, divert it to the north. Because I don't think they have any of those trees proposed to be removed, but they're going to be cutting all the roots.
Yeah. I did suggest they remove that one that's close to the driveway. Because I think their driveway at that corner there with the front walk is 5 feet above existing grade.
Is this on this walkway here?
Yeah, right at the corner where the walk joins the driveway. The existing is 112 and the garage slab is 118.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was that your comment about the sudden increase of?
Well, that's the comment about needing a retaining wall along the driveway. But also in their front elevation on sheet A 3.0.
Mm-hmm.
See that weird vertical line?
Right here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there not a proposed retaining wall to go in there, huh?
They say not.
Yeah. Did the builder address that comment?
Not yet, I don't think. Well, he said no retaining wall is planned. No sudden jump.
Yeah. Decorative wall supporting front walk and porch is what he said. So it sounds like.
I'm not sure he understood my question.
That's my guess too.
What's it show on the foundation plan?
Is our foundation in here?
Yeah, I guess there's no support, no foundations for the front walk shown there. There should be some posts or something.
And the driveway slab is at. Or our garage slab is at 1.
Well,
118. Well, our builder is still not here to answer these questions.
Yeah. Susie, are you here? She's muted.
I'm sorry, what's up?
Just as a general comment, went back to the application checklist. Could we add another column for NA? That way nothing gets unchecked. Because we've got a couple line items here that there's no yes, no, no. But if we had an NA saying it's not applicable, we need a way to know that everything's being looked at and been checked off.
There or not needed. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Joel, what do you think about that?
Yeah, on some of those, certainly. Things like propane tank. I mean, some places have natural gas or they're all going electric.
But we're kind of talking about a retaining wall under the house right now. And, you know, right now, I don't know if they want to build a retaining wall or not. Because they didn't check anything. So it seems like it'd be pretty simple to add.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them hand write in not applicable
Yeah,
next to
they
it.
could, they could. But I don't think that I've seen it yet.
Yeah, last
Yes,
season.
I have,
we did
you know.
that.
I see a lot of blank spaces, but
Hmm. If we do have concrete exposure, I did talk to this builder and he'll do either exposed aggregate or cedar plank wood siding on it. So we did have that conversation.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And that's something we'll be inspecting for as well.
Yeah, and we're open to stamped patterns, but we should see the pattern. See if we like it before we approve anything, but
All right, let's address some other comments. Survey should identify species of trees. It looks like that has been added. Says the driveway should be corrected, driveway strip drain.
I think they can do a swale. I don't think they had a steep driveway.
yeah, it was 6%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they can do a swale if they want.
Mm-hmm.
How wide are they proposing that driveway at the garage doors?
At the garage, so it's 20 feet here, and then it expands to, we'd have to take a look at the,
Yeah, I think it's about 30 feet, but we would consider that maybe a parking pad kind of thing.
right, this is kind of a gray area. When do we call it a driveway and when do we call it a parking space?
Well, if they have a 3-car garage, obviously 20 feet is not going to cut it.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with an allowance there to allow the driveway to encompass all 3 garage doors.
Yeah, as long as they're in their lot coverage and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're open space. That's my
Okay.
thought too.
Other small things, not having the stormwater on the site plan.
Oops, it doesn't look like they put the radii in there, but
Yeah, on the driveway. That's something we will be inspecting for.
yeah.
Yeah, no. I've been letting other builders know that I meet with that these are the things you're looking to see. And I thought he did send an updated plan with a couple of these on here. Maybe he didn't do it to 77 Valley Crest. Oh, you know what?
Yeah, quite a few of them did.
Actually, hang on here. I think I might have it in. No, I do have a I might have a newer version here, actually. Oh yeah, I do. Let me see if they're in here. Okay, this looks better. So this just came in. Here we go. Driveway radius. Stormwater's on the site plan. Strip drains in the garage. Saying no retaining walls required. There's a propane tank.
Wait, 118 at the garage and 10. Wait, I think they might have their strip drain in the wrong place. Oh no, they can put a swale in. Never mind.
They've got a.
They have the swale there, I'm sure. And the strip drain is actually a requirement probably of the stormwater guy. I don't know. We don't need one there because their garage is high compared to the road.
Other things, planning schedule and landscape plan. Propane tank location. I see a lot on these plans that everyone says that their propane tank is going to be buried. It's my opinion that probably not. I'm a little, I have some doubts. I'm a little skeptical that they'll all be buried. I think they'll change it up and put propane tanks on the side. If they do that, we'll make sure they're screened.
Well, it's easy enough to make them buried after the fact.
I think burying them, it costs them more money, but I would like to see them buried if they do it.
Yeah.
But
But often those 2 little tanks by the side of the house aren't too much of an eyesore.
What else here?
Back to the, application check work, they didn't have anything checked for the culvert, but they are obviously doing some culvert work.
Yeah, we had one of the issues I'm having with the builders here is they're turning in these application checklists, and they have everything checked, yes, of course. And then we go through the checklist together and we highlight things and tell them, hey, this is no, this is no, this is no. So they're not being forthcoming. They're not actually checking to make sure these things are on the site plan. And
That's a good point, Joel.
and it's frustrating to me.
We deny their application until they get it right.
Yeah, I send it back with them for things to correct, and then they send me the corrected ones, and then I try to get it presented. This was it. So we went through it together, and I'm highlighting these things. This is a no. This is no. They didn't have actual setback dimensions to the eaves. Location stormwater. So these were things they all had checked yes, but were originally during our meeting we sat down and they were no.
So you're doing their work for them.
Yeah, it's like a student, a school kid who doesn't read the directions and turns in his report the day it's due and says they met all the requirements, and then I'm grading papers.
If your time was billable back to the client,
Mhm.
that might help. Just like the attorney.
Well, I'm hoping that this process of, responding to all kinds of comments is enough to teach them
Mhm.
to, clean up their act in future, and it won't be this difficult forever.
I think it will get better. As I've told them, the rules, we're not changing the rules. They're the same set of policies. Maybe minor changes have been made, but they've been available, right? They're there for you to read, and they're not reading them.
Yeah. I do think our website, when I moved here, was first looking at this place, one of the tabs across the top was governing documents. So it was really easy to find them all.
Yeah.
Now they're kind of buried in the
Well, the
website.
same things I did.
Right, and it's part of their application. They agree that they've, I think read and understand the policies and agree to follow them.
Well,
Anyway,
that's
let's I
pretty
think we can go on to
conclusive.
some other comments here, unless you. Sorry, do you have a question? Oh, downspouts draining in the stormwater system, treatment trips will be too high, so I think they're gonna do some pumping. I don't know why the builder came back with. He says the civil engineer has addressed this. I didn't see any pumping on the site plan, but the builder, we talked about that too, and he mentioned it. So we'll make sure it's being pumped. Oh, let me go back to the plans. Any other questions or comments on this one right now?
So I'd like to,
These updated
Yes.
plans, sorry, these updated plans are in the Google Drive.
I would like to not approve these plans until they fix them. Really any of them, but
Well, that works. If it delays the start of their construction for a month, they're gonna think twice before they do it again.
if they, I think I would like to see them all, or at least most of them, again, before we approve. And there's not approve with comments, because there's enough stuff, enough loose ends that I don't feel so great about it on most of them.
Were there enough major items to deny it right up front?
Well, we can deny for incompleteness. I don't know if we should defer. One thing that that would be helpful to the committee, I think, is to know when Sudden Valley is declaring their submittal officially, their submittal date. Because we have 30 days from that date to either approve, deny, or request more time.
Mhm.
I think we have to, from a legal point of view, we have to choose one of those three before the 30th day.
Okay, that makes sense.
And get on record having done so. Because the restrictive covenants say if we don't, then their plans will be considered approved as submitted and they can just go ahead without us.
And so we have to make additions of some kind. What date were these submitted?
These were submitted. Let's see. Let's see. We processed the check on 5/14. I'd have to
So
go back.
the
and-
stamp on that
take a
is
look.
not gonna mean that it was a done application. So the date that it's stamped has nothing to do with if it was a complete application,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, I would love to hear from the lawyer, how that wording in our restrictive covenants should be applied, because the committee, one of our reasons to deny an application can be that it's incomplete.
On the application for new construction sheet, it definitely says, I have read and understand the Sun Valley Community Association Architectural Control Guidelines. And on this particular one, there's no date on it. They turned it in, but they didn't date it.
Yeah.
So it's incomplete there.
Joel, did you say this was a new builder here in Sudden Valley?
No, this is they've been building here for a long time. This is a multiple builder.
It's a different builder from the previous one as well.
I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of used solar design, and you think by now they would know what needs to be on these plans and what we're going to start looking for.
Yeah, I agree with you, Keith, but it hasn't been enforced in the past, and that's a problem we're running into.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And instead of there's some things too where instead of meeting the request for revision, they give some pushback. But this was I think originally submitted 4/28.
So to cover our butts, maybe we should,
Yeah, I mean,
That does not mean it was complete on the 28th. That's the problem, right?
Mhm.
So that date essentially means nothing.
yeah, it's a legal question to me, and I don't know that I would feel,
Well, if it's a legal question, then you need to deny it for not having a complete application because
that's what I
here,
think
yeah.
we should do. We should choose one of those three today.
we could use the date that they submitted it for our review. No, that,
Yeah, but that doesn't, so you mean like use today's meeting date?
well, no, because they actually were supposed to be reviewed last week.
Sure,
We had to put it off.
but
Yeah,
it's incomplete even now.
Yes, it is.
so I think to cover our butts, we should use the earliest date and take one of those three steps within 30 days of that date, just to be sure they can't, go proceed
We should
without us.
we should probably change that language. More importantly,
We can't.
is it,
It's in the restrictive covenants.
okay, so we maybe need to define then what it means when they turn this in and when it is dated by us. Because if that is not on the same day that it is deemed complete, then that's a problem. Because a lot of the times, I don't know if you guys know how it works, but they come by and they just throw the application at the front desk girls, who then stamp it and process the check.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is that a lot of the times that they're just super incomplete.
But the safer process of that is for the committee to deny for incompleteness within 30 days
Mhm.
of that day that they throw that stuff at the
I agree.
front office.
Yeah, we have
If
to
we
have,
do that, then they can't go ahead and say, ha ha ha, sue us, you know? And then Sun Valley would have to sue to stop them, which I don't think is a good situation. So anyway,
I don't think that they would have a claim if it was not a complete application. That's all. I mean, how could they claim that they had a complete packet in when they didn't?
the problem with that is we would have to sue them, because what they would do is say, haha, it's deemed approved as submitted and we're going ahead and digging.
Yeah, I don't know. It
We
would
have
be
to sue.
very complicated for them. It would be a very complicated situation.
that's probably true. But still, like Karen says, we have to have a baseline.
Yeah, I agree. We need to figure out some way for a date when they're deemed complete, which this one technically would never have been.
I would like this committee to take an action, one of those 3 actions, within 30 days of when they first throw this thing at the front office, regardless of how bad it is. We can ask for more time. We can do any of those 3 things. But then if we do that, we have our butts covered.
Okay, I'm worried about the paperwork side of this. So if we do that, that means we'll be taking on these deemed on their schedule. That's when they'll be put on the meetings. And then we'll just be denying them until we're not denying them anymore.
As long as we don't let 30 days go by. No, that's usually enough time for 2 meetings, isn't it? Especially with these special meetings. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, that would make me feel more comfortable if we can take an official action within 30 days of the day that they think they submitted.
Joel, when do you first see these?
It's not always on the day they drop them off. If I'm out of the office or they come by, late in the afternoon. But I try to look at them within. So I had one dropped off, I think Tuesday, and I'll get a chance to review it either this afternoon or next week Tuesday. But we have a 3-day weekend, so I try to get initial review on them within a few days. But some people, when it's like this guy who's drops off 5 at once, that takes me more time to get through them. Another builder dropped off 7. So
I'm perfectly comfortable with making it the date that it was presented to us for review.
I think it should be the date that Joel says everything is on the plans that needs to be on the plans and the checklist has been checked. And what date Joel decides that date is we have 30 days from that date.
It should be 30 days from when the plans are complete. Otherwise, I agree with Susie, it can be a nightmare. Also, every time we get an update in plans and stuff, our 30-day clock should restart. We've got a plan update on this of 5/25.
Yeah, you're right.
That should give us 30 days from that entry. If there's a question, I think Susie should go to the GM and let her determine and get a definition down so that it's in writing and everybody can refer to it.
I can absolutely do that.
That I would prefer to see than trying to do a bunch of denials and making people reapply and stuff.
Mhm.
And so where are we on this one? Do we have a list of things that are needed, and are any of them critical to where we couldn't approve it? As far as I can tell, we only have 1 variance at this point requested.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the little things have been addressed here. I think the one question that remains, and it says the builder is saying there's no retaining wall required on that driveway, in this area right here.
But I think the builder
Or actually,
misunderstood. He was talking about the other side.
I think I see what's going on here. Yeah.
He's talking about the side where the propane tank is now, and I agree with him. There's probably no retaining wall needed there.
I think, well, actually, I don't know, because I think that something doesn't, quite look right here with this grade going up and over.
So would you be more comfortable punting and having him come back and have that addressed first before we, because we could probably fast track approval if that's the only thing we come back and check next time.
Well, there's a few things to do with those trees.
Stormwater, and yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, and that stormwater reroute so that we don't have to take those other trees out. If that could be addressed before the next meeting, we could slip them in just for bringing up those few points.
So the possible retaining wall on that side of the driveway and the stormwater removal.
Right.
And the clearing limits finished out in a way that doesn't bother those trees.
Yeah.
And the landscape plan would be good. I think deferring might be.
Didn't they have a?
49. Come back, complete set.
Yeah. I don't know, we can say, I don't know how you say this, approve if all comments have been addressed, but we want to look and see if they were.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable approving some of these contractors as long as they promise to, meet the demands of the checklist.
So if we could defer this and get it into the
I feel
next,
very comfortable. We won't-
if they have it addressed by then, you want to do that?
Do we reset the 30-day?
I think their 30 day is if their plans are complete, their 30 days hasn't started yet, but we'll let Susie get a clarification on that and get it written down someplace.
Okay, that sounds good.
I will do that.
Yeah, I don't want to see him coming back at us saying, well, I turned him in on this date.
Mhm. Yeah, if we can just clarify a definition, I think we would be good on that. So anybody want to move for deferral on this?
I will. I'll make a motion to defer.
Sure.
We got a second?
I'll second it too.
Second,
Okay. Karen seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay, it's unanimous on deferral on this, and we can try to squeeze it into the next meeting if he wants to get everything addressed before then.
Yeah, which will probably be 2 weeks from today.
Actually 1 week from today for the next, let me see.
Depends on our list.
I have,
The way you did it
7
last week, Bruce, was great.
Mhm.
We moved through
Yeah.
that pretty damn quick.
I do have
Yeah,
7 more new constructions getting ready for the
Okay.
next agenda. And I think they're gonna go much smoother than these ones.
Is it possible for when Joel first starts going through these, if he finds them incomplete, just saying, nope, this isn't good enough?
Mhm.
I think that would be perfect.
Mhm.
It still makes it available for us to find things too, but Joel's got the first and quick eye on it.
Mhm.
Just give it back to him.
Yeah, I'll talk to Glenn about that later today. There's a couple things.
Okay.
So 49 Louise View Drive.
All right.
Oh.
And on all these things, he's updated his paint, right? So where he's just showing 2 colors instead of a whole ton of them. Joel?
Yeah, he has. I talked to him on the phone. He's going to eliminate. They were eliminating one of the. They're saying the accent color for the gables. They've updated this sheet. Yeah, they eliminated one of one of those colors because they weren't specifying the location.
Yeah. And he's doing the same on all of these, I believe. So they fit our normal colors. At least he's telling us what's going where.
Let me pull the file out for this one. So this was one of the better ones that didn't have many issues. Some of my concerns were these trees on the left side of the lot here. Being so close, we got a 24-inch and a 48-inch diameter tree that's, you know, going to be within about 5 feet of the footings of the house when they excavate. On the survey, they appear to be on the neighbor's lot.
Oh, yeah. I parked in the neighbor's driveway when I was there. And they came out and talked to me. This is one of those Linda Bradley tree things. They have a huge tree right by the property line. And it's got a shelf mushroom 20 feet up or something. It doesn't look happy. Which is unsurprising because their house isn't that old either.
Mm-hmm.
So they would love it if somehow persuade the contractor to take that tree down, I think. I mean, it would keep it healthy, but that's one of those tough issues where our rules should happen.
Yeah, so yeah, if it's
I
a
don't know what
question,
the law says about it either.
that'd be a good question for Susie. It's my opinion, you know, if you look at it, if we're looking at a tree and it's kind of questionable as to mushrooms growing out of it, I always defer to an expert and would get an opinion for a licensed certified arborist to give an evaluation before
Actually,
making a decision.
Joel, it's automatic. If there's a mushroom growing out of it, that means the core that's rotted.
Oh,
yeah.
It needs
Yeah.
to come out.
That's
It's
my
a
understanding as
safety
well.
hazard.
Yeah, I agree. I think it doesn't look like a good situation. But the legal question is, whose job is it to deal with that tree if the builder is gonna, even if it were a healthy tree, let's say, and it's 2 feet over the property line, and the builder is gonna just destroy that tree, do they owe it
I'd say
to
we
the
put the
neighbor?
onus on the neighbor to remove the tree if it's going to be a hazard.
But who pays?
The owner or the builder of the lot,
Yeah,
builder of the new house.
Yeah, we don't have that policy in place. So
So
that's,
that we would need a policy, we can give approval on this based on that, just as a comment. It must be addressed. You must remove the tree. Or get an arborist report. I agree with Bruce. I know the conch's on there that it says the tree is no good anyways, so the tree does have to come down, and I think the builder of the lot needs to take it down because it's going to interfere with his footings anyways.
well, that's what I would like to see happen, but he needs permission from the owner, I think, legally.
Yeah.
does.
And he may complain that our policies don't say he has to address trees that don't belong to him, which currently they don't.
But if it's going to create a danger by him building this house, then that responsibility lies on him, not the neighbor.
I
And
agree.
don't know what happens if the neighbor says, no, you're not cutting that tree down?
then clearly the responsibility falls on the neighbor's shoulders then.
Correct.
But like Linda Bradley, when this happened to her, she had to pay the arborist to take the tree down, to give her the advice, and then take the tree company to take her tree down.
That sucks. That's not right.
Yeah, and I would disagree with that myself. But yeah, I would say the builder's responsible if there's any trees that are going to be, it's no different to me than we're requiring putting U-shaped retaining walls up or redirecting stormwater off someone else's lot. It's
Yeah.
the builder, developer's responsibility.
Well,
That tree might pose a current danger. It's going to be more of a danger once they start construction.
Actually,
Yeah.
both of those could be in that category, because when you're opening up the canopy, and if you're cutting near the roots, even on the one that doesn't have the conch on it, we're looking at it between the two houses, and it's what I would call
Yeah.
setting it up for danger. I think we should be looking at both of those removal, and
Oh, yeah.
the option should be open to the neighbor to have that removed with the construction here for safety purposes, because it is the new construction that's doing the situation. However, the one with the conch on it is a pre-existing, so I don't know, that's a little bit more hairy, but that's safety hazard. That needs to come out either way.
Is that the only other issues on this one, Joel?
Well, they,
And how wide is
That's,
this
that's,
driveway? Curiosity.
sorry, go ahead. How wide is the driveway?
What's the width on this one? It looks like a 2-car.
like a 20.
I'm sure it's 20.
Yeah, they should really label that. Whenever they're meeting a standard, they should label it. That would make it a whole lot easier for us.
Have that dimension on there, sure. And we can, put that in the policies that you want to see a dimension. It's 20 wide.
Yeah,
It's 20.
I did see, they didn't really address my comment about the existing grade at call it the bottom edge of the driveway in this view, is much higher than the proposed driveway. So they should put a wall there, I think. And they didn't seem to think they needed it, but I think they do. It's 6 feet, 5 feet difference. And you want they say that they propose to slope it down from the property line to the edge of the driveway. Then there's no flat area around the house. I don't think that's okay. Or no flat area at that corner anyway.
He is showing his 20-foot elevation off the natural grade, not the finished grade.
Yeah, that should be fixed too.
So this is something on our height requirements, and the language around them uses the language of finished grade. And how we define that finished grade. Is it just any?
That's how he defines the finished grade. What's it going to end up at?
Yeah, he needs to define it. In the case where the house is only at the minimum setback from the side property line, and especially if it's minimum all 3 sides, then the property line is the envelope.
Mhm.
And if they're not meeting existing grade at the property line, their neighbor should have something to say about that. They're not supposed to be doing dirt work on the neighboring properties.
Mhm.
So the existing and finished grade would in that situation generally be the same. But they should label it as finished grade and say where it is, so we know how they're defining it.
Right, that's
Deals
my,
1 inch equals 10 feet. And just at kind of as an eyeball, it looks like he's 3/8 to 5/16, almost a ½ inch up from finished grade to existing grades, which would add almost 5 feet to the house.
Mhm.
Yeah, And Joel,
Yeah.
you measured that to be 28 feet from the other side. I was wondering how you did that.
28 feet from definition 1. Yeah, let's see. Let's
This
see.
is
I
another-
would have.
Yeah, sorry.
I gotta start taking notes on how I measure everything here. Let's see. Let's do a quick. Let's see. If we are so if we're 20 feet from the top of the structure to 98, and then we go down to our finish grade here. We're using 90. So then that's 8 more feet. So that's 28 feet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and
Okay.
if we only have to, if it's the lowest point of the finished grade envelope, then actually that's 92 feet or so at the corner of the property line,
Yeah.
behind the house on the uphill hillside.
The language is pretty clear.
Yeah, it's lowest 5 feet away from the structure.
So I think they're fine on that.
You meet the definition under definition 1.
Yeah, this is where I'd really like to see those numbers on the elevation sheet so we don't have to be guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to see the elevation of the topmost point on the house shown, so then we can compare it to see if it makes sense.
Yeah, I like to see that too. That's what I've been asking builders to do. I tell them I can measure it because I have the rulers and they're submitting the plans for me here. But when the ACC is reviewing it, you don't always have that luxury. So that's what you'd like to see as well. Yeah, I think future plans you will see that.
The front elevation view, he does show it at 25, 1 3/4. His finished elevation, it looks like it might be finished grade.
Is this on A3?
I'm on my iPad, so I can't tell you.
Oh.
See, it's just the front elevation. He's got a sheet,
Yeah.
all 4 elevations on the
Mhm.
front. He's got a dimension of 25 feet, 1 3/4.
Yeah, so that'd be from the top of the house, looks like, to about that finished grade at the front. And I think that coincides with, no, it's not quite.
Something seems wrong with that.
Yeah, this would measure it to be about 23.
Yeah, it says
What I
23,
have.
23 feet, 1 3/4 inches on his, that elevation is what he's looking at, but that's not saying where finished grade is. That's the height of the,
Yeah, I'm just kind of assuming that black line at the bottom is his finished grade.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the intent of that dimension is to just show the height from the building height from the garage. I don't know, but it
Top of
doesn't
the
seem like
piers.
it's correct even.
Floor level to roof level.
Doesn't seem like it's really correct.
looks like it's going right at the garage elevation, doesn't it?
Yeah, so that's why it's nice to know what the top elevation is supposed to be.
I can moving forward, have builders put on both top and rear elevations. Both dimensions.
Mark to finished grade, so
Yeah,
that
5 feet out and 10 feet out.
or it should address what we're referring to so that we know it meets.
Mhm. Are we accepting, are we calling natural grade finished grade at the end of the day, or are we considering
No.
finished grade something that like a driveway, sidewalk, landscape?
Well, they can be both. In other words, it can be that the natural grade coincides with the finished grade if the contractor does not propose to change the ground line there.
Mhm.
But it should be labeled as finished grade,
Finished, right?
you know, because if that means he's promising that's what's going to be there when he's done.
Mhm.
Whereas if he says natural grade, he's not promising not to change it, you know.
Mhm. Well,
mean,
if
it could
that,
be.
yeah, if that's the case, I mean, he should, I think he would be within meeting both. Then it would be 20 in the front, but
It looks like the garage side where he's showing it.
mhm, yeah.
So those numbers really
Right.
should match.
And that's why I wanted a retaining wall there.
But that 20 at the front is showing to existing, and the natural grade and his finished grade is that dark line.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying
His
earlier.
finished grade at the driveway is the dark line. The dotted line is existing and finished grade at the property line, which is 5 feet away
Mhm.
or 6 feet away or whatever. So,
And one's in compliance, one's not.
Mhm.
So-
They, only one of them needs to be in compliance, correct?
yes,
That's my understanding. Okay. So I
Because
think
he's got 5 feet. If it's 6 feet, no.
and I think our definition is such that he can use the building envelope and pick a point on the entire rectangle or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And,
See, I've got it right here.
you know, pick the highest point that's 5 feet away from the, or 5 or 10 feet away from the building,
mhm.
Yeah,
and that's his 20 feet.
for the one def, yeah.
That's his 20 feet. And then the same thing, the other one has to be the lowest point, and that's his 30 feet.
Mhm.
So at the property line, that existing grade is going to be his finished grade also, because we're not allowing them to excavate on the neighbor's property, at least not without permission. So that's how the 20 foot definition can be met. But I think he needs a wall there. There's no, you know, to catch the edge of the driveway from the property line, it's at least a 1-to-1 slope, if not steeper. And if that's rock, that's okay, but if it's not, that's not going to be stable. Plus, you know, you need some flat area to walk around your house, I think. So that 5 feet should be pretty flat. Or, you know, side to side. It shouldn't slope toward the house.
The driveway.
The side slope from the
Around the
uphill
house?
property line to the edge of the driveway. Yeah, where it shows the 6 foot dimension there.
Mhm.
So the property line in that area, the contours show somewhere around 102, a little bit lower, 101 point something probably.
Mhm.
And the garage slab elevation was 95. So somehow by magic, he has to get the soil to bridge that gap. And to my mind, a retaining wall is needed.
So
Yeah.
because, let me just run this back to you, because we're at about 101 at the property line elevation.
Even higher, the 100 goes over here, you know, goes way over.
Here's the 100, here's the 102. So we're somewhere, well, let's call it, yeah, somewhere between 101 and 102. And then if the driveway or garage slab is proposed to be, according to this, at 95. So then we have a difference of 6 feet. Mhm. Yeah, I see your concern. Well, do we want to ask them to propose a retaining wall for that area then, or
Yeah, I already asked for that in my comments yesterday.
how did he reply?
He hasn't yet. That was late yesterday.
Okay.
Is that the only item on the sheet that we were concerned about?
Other things that I had concerns in our initial meeting had mostly been addressed. There's little things like including the actual setback dimensions to the eaves. And I don't know how much, how I know it's in the policies, it needs to be on there. They've got 6 feet to the wall, and then we have a 1 foot eave projection. So we're in that 5 foot. So I've been asking builders to put those actual dimensions on there. We don't have it. I mean, and I can measure it. We're okay. We're within the
Yeah,
setbacks, but
I would feel comfortable if they just put, if they have the 6 foot, but then they also somewhere show 1 foot eave typical, something like
Yeah.
that. Then we can do that math.
yeah, you have to go to the roof. I go to the roofing plan and I measure and make sure that it is actually 1 foot. But,
It'd be nice if they either showed the 5 feet or show the 6 feet and the 1 foot typical,
yeah. Otherwise, this is a pretty, from these 5 proposals from this builder, this is the I think had the fewest items, and most of them have been addressed. So it seems like just maybe the retaining wall and those trees are the 2 concerns.
So
Yeah.
is this,
Are they asking for the parking thing also?
I did not get a response for that.
Hmm.
I thought they would be here to talk about it in today's meeting.
Because
Do we want to approve parking if they do it?
if we do, they should remove the tree in the right of way there too.
Mhm.
They can't do it without. Anyway, but I don't really see where they would park unless they got permission from the neighbors.
Mhm. Yeah, there's not a lot of parking.
That's why I parked in the neighbor's driveway.
so are these items that we feel we can address if we approve this now and move forward, that they need to come back in before start? Or is this something we need to defer to have them come back before?
Do we want to know what the retaining wall will look like
Exactly.
alongside the driveway?
And the tree issue, I think we might need to defer it just for that, to make sure we have the homeowners next door approval and make sure this developer is willing to do that. Otherwise, we're going to possibly have an issue with that, a hold up.
Where are you finding the 12-inch eave dimension? I mean, that's an awful small eave.
They're typically doing that.
Yeah, I'm just not finding a detail or.
Yeah.
Well, he shows the setback at 5 feet, and it's right in line with the eave overhang, and then he shows the actual wall of the structure 6 feet back off the property line. So, assuming it'd be a 1 foot eave.
Mhm.
Yeah, it scales.
Yeah, his dotted line showed the setback requirements and he was in line with that, so.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering, is this something we can move forward with for him so that he just has to address a couple items? Can we have him come back just for those specific items, or do we need to put the whole thing on hold?
I think you just come back to the items myself.
Well, if the trees are going to be a problem, we don't want him to start.
Well, I assume these people are not allowed to start until they address the comments.
Yeah,
So that would be defer and address the
because they
comment.
have to. Or would that be approve and they have to address it before they can do a start with, because they have to have that meeting with Jolt in order to actually proceed, right?
Yeah, I think it would be approved pending comments, pending addressing comments.
Yeah, because if it's small enough, I'd like to see them move forward and just have them come back with the required information.
Ready to start?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd hate to see him get started and then have the neighbors say, no, you're not cutting my trees down.
Well, as soon as they say you're not cutting my trees down, then it becomes the neighbor's responsibility. See, that's a problem there. If they
What
refuse
if
to
he
let 'em cut-
damages the roots, or
what's that?
what if there's tree damage or root damage during construction? Then is it still the neighbor's problem?
Well, if he damages it at that point, then the issue comes up again, doesn't it? And if they still refuse to let him take it down, then it becomes the neighbor's problem.
I agree.
Well, if we're gonna comment that he needs to take those trees down,
Then it needs to be addressed ahead of time.
then we have to qualify that he needs the neighbor's permission
Yeah,
legally, I think.
I would
yeah.
agree with that.
I mean, I agree that this is relatively finished compared to some of the others.
So then I move to approve pending comments being addressed.
And, okay.
And
That
on the other hand,
moves-
it should be quick if we see it again. It should be quick to, if they did address all the comments well, it should be quick to approve them.
So,
And
but the,
my issue with just approving, when I have made comments, you know, there's been multiple back and forths where they say they addressed the problem, but they didn't. So that's why I kind of like to see them come back. It's the same, it seems like it's the same designer for the whole batch. And they haven't been either understanding the comments or, you know, necessarily addressing them in a good way.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
And just kind of for the record, Keith, did we determine last week if Keith can make a motion or vote? Isn't he just a tiebreaker? I don't have a
Not
problem.
chair,
I don't have a
I'm
problem.
not chair today.
But this came up in the last meeting.
yeah, I think mine, I figured that I was ramrodding. I figured I had that
Right.
at this point. So are we at the approval with, they have to come approval pending, and that's the addressing of the retaining wall and trees, which I think we had a motion for, or are we looking at trying to do a deferral again, make them come back after addressing those?
I would be more comfortable with a deferral for a week.
Me
They should
too.
handle that pretty quick.
There's also the landscaping plan that they have to come up with.
I thought we had,
I think they've improved their landscaping plan on this one, I thought.
yeah.
Well, it doesn't address the
No,
clearing limits. They're all doing the same thing. They're putting these plants at the front, but not showing what happens within all the clearing limits. And they all have these ridiculously small amounts of allowable non-native landscaping from the stormwater designer. This one's 161 square feet. So that means all the sides of the house have to be, planted in ferns or something. I don't know.
Well, this time they at least identify the area of natural vegetation and the clearing boundary. So as long as they come up with a list of what goes in there, and I think that's required from the county, I mean, that at least identifies what's going on and what we expect to see when they're done. So I was actually happy with their update as long as they're identifying what's going in what area.
Yeah, they don't identify anything going on the left, right, or back sides of the house within the clearing limits. And they do show now on the tree canopy plan that their non-native landscaping is going smack over the stormwater thing in the front yard. So that means right up to the house, they have to have native landscaping on all sides. Per the county, anyway, per the stormwater designer.
You need to excuse me. I need to take a bathroom break. I'll be right back.
Joel, you can't leave.
I gotta go.
So I think these are ridiculous, but that's what they're getting from their landscape designer. And more native plants is good for stormwater drainage issues in general.
Well, in this case, it's as long as they're labeled and there's that list of plants that are going in. Doesn't that list have a certain minimum, at least, requirement for the plant distribution? Karen, did you?
The spreadsheet calculates how many plants you need of each type. And the underlying formula is 2.5 foot spacing, I think, for the ground covers, 8 feet for shrubs, 15 feet for trees.
So as long as they're following that and identified on their landscape plan where that zone is, isn't that sufficient for that? You think?
I guess that's a question for Mr. Bathroom Break. Will he be able to enforce the landscaping plan with that information? I personally think that they should show that these ground covers or whatever they have go on all sides of the house. And personally, I think their choices are poor for that because their bulrush thing apparently can grow 3 to 6 feet high. They should have something smaller. For the sides of the house that you can walk through.
Okay, I'm trying to think back. We had one motion on the table saying approve with approve.
I rescind my motion.
You rescind it?
I do.
Okay, so that's no longer on the table. So I think we're looking for a motion to defer until items are addressed, and hopefully we can just do a quick approval next meeting.
Yeah, I'll make that motion. That works for me.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second
I'll
it.
second it.
Okay, Keith,
Yeah.
you're too slow, Keith.
Tom
So
and Karen,
again-
man.
Tom and Karen, all approved?
Aye.
Ayes?
Aye.
Keith, you voting?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
all approved. And then I guess we have no opposed there because I think I counted everybody. So we can tell Joel the fallout on him walking away from us and move to the next one. Joel, we approved a deferral
Okay.
for them to address this, and hopefully we can come back and just do a quick approval on the hanging items next time. So if he can get it back to you, we'll try to squeeze it in as soon as we can.
And so that was the tree issue, which
The tree and the
retaining wall.
Retaining
and the,
wall,
retaining wall.
Okay.
and a little more clarity on the landscape plan, what goes in on the sides of the house. I mean, their ground cover grows 3 to 6 feet tall, so it might not be the best choice.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Joel, I had a quick question. When you do your final inspections on these houses, is the landscaping done at that time?
Yes.
Okay, so everything done, propane tank, landscapes in, you check it off, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I have a copy of. I can show you what that final inspection checklist looks like. So what we're looking, this is the old checklist from John. Landscaping is the plan complete, tree replanting, existing trees undamaged, trees on neighboring properties undamaged, all vegetative debris cleaned up and removed.
Is there a survey markers restored or undamaged in there?
Property corners exposed and in place, yes.
That's something we definitely need to double check. So many of them were going out there now afterwards, and things have been covered up and lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just as a personal note, not just to this guy, but others, he's got a detail on his roof to wall connection, which clearly shows the eaves. It'd be easy enough to dimension that from the wall to the outside edge of the eave.
So, sorry, are we on to One Green Hill now?
No, that's the same property. And it's just a general comment.
Mm-hmm. That's something
I don't want to assume that it's a 12-inch overhang or eave.
sure I can double knit. Typically, I'm really looking for those, and I'm measuring here on the plan set.
Yeah, if it was marked, it wouldn't need to be measured though. And I
Right.
think when we're
I
looking
know.
at it, it's
That's
nice
what
to
I'm telling the builders. And it's in our policies, actual dimension to eaves, and it's in I believe it's in the checklist too, that they're filling out,
Yes.
right?
Yes, right.
Yeah, actual setback. to
Everything
eave.
on the checklist on this
Yeah.
one. Yes.
Yeah,
It's right there, actual setback dimensions to eaves, and they're marking yes, and right, it's not, this is what I'm talking about. It's not actually there on some of them.
It's an easy dimension to include.
Typically they are good at putting in the dashed lines, showing those setbacks, the 5 and the 20, but that's not an actual dimension. It's not marked.
So I think we're done here. We're ready for you to move on to One Green Hill.
Okay.
Good. Same builder.
Yep.
now I had unfortunately a new concern on their stormwater system. I was looking at that and thinking, how is that going to work? The policy, the manual that they're supposed to follow, the State Department of Ecology's Stormwater Design Manual, has some design criteria for these dispersion trenches.
Oh yeah. So this one, we talked about that issue on our about they would have to. This was similar to 77 Valley Crest. They'd have to pump up from the lower grade there.
But then Well, I mean, they added the stormwater system to the site plan, but they freehanded it and it doesn't match what's on the designer's sheet.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, it depends on the time.
on this. So here's our stormwater from the,
So the actual trench is right up against the house. And whether they can grade the soil over to 15 degrees or 15%, is it? Whatever they're, I don't know that they can do that there. But, you know, it's up at the corner of the house, and then they have a dispersion trench on the stormwater designer's sheet. That's only 4.5 feet long. And those are like 2 feet wide and 2 feet deep, typically, I guess, or 18 inches deep. And then all the stormwater from the roof and the driveway is supposed to go down the hill from that. And, you know, ecology says there should be 10 feet of length for every 700 square feet drained. They have 3 times as much as that, 700 square feet. They've got about 2,000 square feet, I think. I don't know, definitely at least more than twice. And 4.5 feet. And then the other requirements are 5 feet minimum from any structures and at least 50 feet filtration through vegetation before it hits any slope greater than 15% or degrees, I forgot which. But this slope is steeper.
So this, yeah. So something like this, this is where I'm not an engineer.
Right.
So I kind of have to, I try to defer or not, I mean, I don't want to scrutinize the engineering plans too much and get it, I know it's outside of my qualifications to try to contradict them.
But this looks like, you know, over a 4.5 foot width, all that water is going to go cascading down that hillside and create an erosion issue. I did, you know, I don't know. That's why I looked at the design manual, because that didn't look like it was a good thing. So I don't know, I'm gonna maybe set that aside right now and talk about the other stuff.
Okay, right. I have to trust the engineers that they know what they're doing. Okay, let's move on to the other things. One Green Hill. I think originally there was not a survey. We do have a survey now. The driveway, do they put a strip drain in front of the driveway? Looks like they did. Landscaping again, the full schedule of proposed plantings. Trees along the northern property line. Let's take a look here. So I think the trees to be proposed to be removed. Do I have it on the landscaping plan here?
Yeah, their landscape plan on sheet A 1.1 doesn't match
Mhm.
what's shown on the tree canopy plan. Sheet EX1.
Oh, there's the tree canopy. Yeah.
They're showing their non-native landscaping as a border around the side of the house
Mhm.
on the tree canopy plan. But on the landscaping plan in front, I guess they're not
nothing shown.
actually, in their latest version, I think they did show something. I don't have that printed out.
Mhm. Yeah, this tree on the left side, this 24-inch one, if that's going to be close to where they're trenching, that might be an issue. Might need to be proposed to be removed.
Right, I asked them to either change that. Also, the 3 trees on the other side, I think they can't keep those. To either change their clearing limits to mostly avoid that tree canopy or mark the 24-inch one also to go.
Mhm.
The whole lot is less than the county 5,000 square feet tree canopy removal allowance. So they can meet county requirements by removing every single tree. It's not
Okay.
what we prefer, of course. But I don't see how they can keep that huge tree in the back there, showing their clearing limits.
This 30-inch.
Yeah,
Well, I was
And-
concerned about the ones on the side there. They look like they're gonna be too close to the house.
yeah, they're a little smaller, but the same thing. I mean, their clearing limits are pretty much right at the property line. So
Yeah,
they
do-
can't keep any of those trees, I don't think.
Do we know who those trees belong to?
It's, they look like they're right on the line, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, they do.
The one in the back they own,
yeah, the back one's fine.
and the
That,
24-inch one they own.
Yeah,
Although
that's a-
there's another one right off the property line, next to the 24-inch one. Right there, yeah.
oh, yes, there is.
Mhm.
So,
Well, that's got to be protected.
so what I would love to see is that they don't use this stormwater design. One option Wilson Engineering showed in their designs was for a dispersion trench that would use Sun Valley Common property. And they would have to ask permission and get permission. But if that park down below is flatter, you know, has the slope that they need for that, the gentle slope, then I think that's what they should do, is put it at the bottom and drain it out to the park. I don't know if they could like pump it to a ditch across the street or something, but the best choice would be to disperse it all along the back property line into the park, if the park can handle it.
Yeah, for me, a pump would be a last resort.
Yeah, they're already showing a pump from the bottom, you know, from the back of the house.
Because what happens when a pump fails?
Yeah, exactly.
And it will
Mm.
at some point.
That's when the homeowner daylights the gutters.
So better than having the homeowner daylight the gutters is to have a dispersion trench down there at the bottom of the property. Nice long one. Though it would have to follow the contours, so that would be a little tricky too. This is one of those lots that Sudden Valley should have put into open space.
Hmm.
There's no ditch, which is a huge problem here.
Well, Well, we'd like to, let's see. Well, let's take a look at maybe some other issues and come back.
Yeah.
Uh,
Another thing that the state,
That's it, actually. These are the last things.
okay, that the state allows is, where you're down, you don't have concentrated downspouts. Your stormwater kind of falls equally all along your eaves and gets spread out that way.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's something they could do. I don't know. It probably doesn't address the phosphorus as well as the county wants.
Well, I am going to take a stormwater class to be better equipped to comment on issues like this.
This is definitely where trying to address one issue creates other problems.
Right. I'm hesitant. I'm personally, I can't speak for you folks, but I am hesitant to try to make changes to an engineer's stormwater, that has been approved. I do see the issues and recognize why you're concerned.
I see the problems, but that is the county's requirement on that, I think. And it's their responsibility to sign off on it. So it's not a visual type thing or whatever.
How close do they look at it?
Yeah, good
I don't
question.
think they look very close at all.
It's a good question.
This is Karen's ball of wax. I definitely trust her judgment.
Yeah,
When you
so
see the
how far
same,
can we go?
same designer provide a tree canopy plan and clearly work within that canopy, and then they stamp on the side, trees to remain to be protected, roots to be protected. It's like, what? Didn't you look? How are they supposed to do that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
There were some of them had that red stamp. Not all of them, but yeah, I don't know. The county isn't. I'm happy to enforce their landscaping requirements because that benefits Sun Valley as well as the lake.
Hmm.
But I don't like to see something that's going to cause problems for
For the
landscape
homeowner.
flow.
Boy, the wind's picking up.
I don't have any windows in my office. It's a cave. Well,
I hear it.
well, it sounds like the two big issues are the trees and the stormwater on this one then. Is that what we're hearing? Sounds like
I think so.
remaining issues.
Yeah, I think it's fair to ask the question and just have them address it. Doesn't mean they have to change it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
I think that sounds fair.
Once again, it'd be nice to see dimensions on their elevation drawings.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the ground line labeled and in a way that you can tell whether they're gonna be able to meet existing at the clearing limits, for instance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those ground elevations are something that I've noticed they're missing on these, and future builders have been mentioning. And I think it is I know it's in the policies.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to label them with actual numbers.
Right, the actual elevations.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have, everything else meets, there's no variance request, or colors look good. Is there anything hanging that will kill this from not being accepted?
I don't see, we're within setbacks, we're within 20, we're at 20 feet height at definition 2. We've got 53% open space. Our property coverage is incredibly close, but it's within the 35%. It's 34.9. You can really,
It's a small lot.
yeah. Do we want to, so I don't have other issues.
So is the tree removal issue along the property lines, is that something we can just flag and have them address with you as far as potential damage? Because really, I think normally a builder would be happy to remove a few extra trees so that if they know they don't have to worry about it falling on top of their house or something later.
Mhm,
And which I think is what we're setting up for here.
mhm.
Again, unless the county requires them to keep it, it'd be better to just remove and replant a few.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah,
we're always looking at
Yeah.
windthrow potential when we're opening pockets up and leaving large
Right.
trees.
I suppose the one thing I don't know about that, since it seems like it's the stormwater designer who creates the tree canopy plan, it may be that removing more trees affects their calculations in some way. So they should be asked whether, really for all of these, whether additional tree removals will change their design in some way.
That's a good point.
Yeah, here it is, this red stamp thing.
Oops. Yeah.
All retained trees and their root systems must be, and then they say that on the same canopy plan that shows the overlap
Mhm.
with the house foundation, like,
Yeah, they don't, they're two conflicting.
Although they're just saying if they're misspelling, other than misspelling trees, that they would have to replant at a ratio of 3 to 1.
right,
Dresses. So when I look at a statement like this from a home inspector, it's something that's it's a CYA, cover
Yeah.
your ass
Right.
kind of statement.
Yeah.
It says, hey, I said protect the trees on there. You went and damaged the trees. I'm not liable. That's how I view those statements to me.
Right.
So yeah, whether or not, so they're putting them on there, even if they're a foot away from where the trees are from the foundation where they're going to be digging, they would still put it on there. And even though there's no practical way, probably to protect the roots.
I think we just, I would feel more comfortable with them being removed and having them replant some trees and try to maintain those.
but the one thing, maybe I'll just follow up separately. Because
Yeah.
the designer, the stormwater designer creates this sheet, it may funnel into their design calculations in some way. So if we're changing this, then they may need to change their other sheet in some
I
way.
think you're going to get a more direct rainfall with the canopy removed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a
Right.
question I could call and talk to the engineer and see if
Yeah, that would be
the
nice.
canopy is something that they take into consideration.
That would be nice.
So trees, remove and replant.
As long as they belong to them.
Yeah,
Those two are questionable.
so I'll say verify ownership.
Actually, there's a third one. Well, I don't know how big the canopy is on the neighboring property to the left around that 24 inch. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's
Another
not
24
dimensioned on
incher.
the plans, is it?
It's another 24 inch.
I think so.
Yeah, so that's going to have a pretty extensive root system.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Mhm.
So if they can keep all their work really close to the house, maybe those trees could be saved.
Mhm.
Maybe not, I don't know.
Our,
Definitely the ones on the other side should go.
yeah, our stormwater inspection. So that when they call for the stormwater inspection, they are supposed to have everything excavated, you know, ready to fill the stormwater system in. And that's when I'm supposed to go out and take a look at it. And so I will be inspecting for tree root damage along any trenches like that.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
But with their clearing limits where they are, they're gonna have to relocate that because we're gonna put our tree fencing in, insist on their tree fencing.
Mhm.
And they're showing that right next to the one tree and not far from the other.
Mhm.
So, yeah, they should address that somehow.
Mhm.
Either move the silt fence and the clearing limits closer to the house, or show those trees being
Coming out.
removed. Perhaps subject to permission from the owner. I don't know.
If they go over the line, maybe.
Because
Yeah.
that one tree is clearly not theirs. And then there's two that seem to be right on the line on the other side.
Mhm.
Where's the neighbor's house from there?
It's right along here.
It's further down. Okay, it's that one. Oh. Yeah.
So maybe we have a standard wording right now. We say they should remove those trees,
Mhm.
but get the neighbor's permission.
Remove these two trees and maybe pending this northern border tree if the stormwater system is damaging the roots.
Or anything else.
Mhm.
You know, if
Right.
the contractor does anything to disturb the roots of these trees and make them a danger, they have to accept responsibility for them.
Mhm.
Yeah, and because the trees on the other side are on the line, it may be, that they just can cut them down because they're kind of
Yeah, those two should probably go.
theirs.
Or-
Okay, well, we have language that says if they damage neighboring trees, and that's in the checklist as well. The inspections that they'll be have to be responsible for those.
It is easier all around if they just do it before they start,
Mhm.
because they already have the crews out there.
Mhm. Yeah, we're making sure that tree fencing is in place at their at one of the inspections.
The first one.
And we talk about a compliance review. Yeah. Mhm.
So the only thing we've really got on this then is the tree removal stuff, and that's something Joel can work with as he's going with it. So we could really move forward with this one as far as I can tell. Anybody else? Any, so do I have any motions for approval on this one?
And they should
approve.
Got a second?
approve with, if they address comments, including
Yeah, my bad. I should have included that.
filling in the
Yeah.
landscaping around the sides,
Okay.
identifying what's supposed to go in everywhere within the clearing limits.
You up with that, Joel?
Yeah, so I've got identify proposed landscaping, approve with comments, the trees. And then I think there was also, you wanted to address the question of the stormwater placement.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much authority we have on that, if they have an engineer stamp signing off on that, but it wouldn't hurt to just bring up the question.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah, right. We're not asking them to move it. We're just asking for clarification, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if those trees have to come out.
Mhm.
So let's have a vote. All approved?
Aye.
with comments?
Aye.
Okay, that's everybody.
Unanimous.
What's this? We got music here. So anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay, it's passed with the comments, and Joel's got those.
Yep.
Okay,
Tom made the motion, or who made the motion?
No, I made a motion.
I think it
Tom,
was
yeah.
Tom and Karen, right?
Yes, Tom and Karen.
Okay.
All right,
3 Topper Drive.
3 Topper.
Same developer. Yeah, going back to the application checklist, this is probably minor, but on the checklist, it says name. Name, address, and phone number of owner. They've checked yes, but it's not filled in.
The other checklist. Wait. No, that's the right one. Sorry, I screwed up.
We're on 3 Topper here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Name, address, phone number of owner.
it may be the same as the company, but still, they can't check yes if it's not filled in.
Okay. So owner, Arrow Homes.
Arrow Homes.
LLC.
Yeah, I think that is filled in.
It appears to be filled in on mine, unless I'm misunderstanding your question. The owner is Arrow Homes LLC.
Is that actually who's on the records as the owner? But I mean, that's who they say is the owner anyway.
Well, they will be the owner until they sell it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that might have been my bad on this one. I guess the signature is just in the wrong place.
All right. Just want to make sure I've got the most updated plan set here. Three Topper.
This is another one where the natural grade. They're measuring their height from the natural grade.
Yeah. It looks like they're dimensioning off the natural grade instead of the finished grade or the driveway.
Yeah. And I think it's a similar situation where they could be legit, but they should clarify that that's where their finished grade is going to be at such and such a location in the building envelope.
Well, they kind of do. They have finished grade at the back of the house. They have finished grade and natural grade on the same line, but it separates about midway through the house.
Right.
The natural grade stays high. And they're dimensioning off that natural grade.
So
And they're right at the 20-foot max.
this is kind of an issue where you're trying to show kind of a cross section, but some of the information that matters isn't in the same cross section. So the driveway is down low, but I think they're going to have a higher point on their building envelope off to the side.
And yeah, as long as it's within 5 feet, that's cool.
Yeah, we allow them 10 feet on the on the 20-foot dimension, 20-foot criterion. 10 feet of the property line, whichever is closer. So but now they're putting their propane tank over there. They need it to be, do they need it to be flat? I have no idea. For a buried propane tank?
Right. Joe, sorry. I have a question on these application that you submitted.
Okay, 1 second.
Well, on the north side of the house, you've got an awful lot of trees there that are awfully close.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be our comment again. They have to remove those trees.
Some are there, some aren't.
I think only one of them is clearly, well, two of them toward the back are clearly not theirs. But the others kind of look like they're theirs.
I see 1, 2. There's on the left side, the one in the back on the property line, and then where was the other one?
Yeah, there's one near the front of the house.
Right near the front left corner.
That's clearly the neighbors. And then one way at the back, that's clearly the neighbors. And then one that kind of seems to be on the line. In the middle between.
Yeah.
It looks like it's biased towards them. Whether the surveyor would go on record as saying, yeah, that's where the, exactly where the middle is, I don't know. So again, we have this problem of trees that should be nuked but belong to the neighbor. And I don't know, I mean, if they keep the clearing limits close to the house, could some of those trees survive? They're not as big as some of the others we've seen.
I don't see tree dimensions.
You know what
Yeah,
the
you have to
species?
zoom in. The one in the back is 10 inches,
Do we have a clue what type?
evergreen. What
They're
more do
all-
you need to know? We don't know other than that they're evergreen, supposedly. And they did make a mistake on one of the others, so it could be wrong too. But the ones that belong to the neighbors are only 10-inch diameter. And the one that's on the line is only 8 inches.
Yeah, those could
They're
survive.
relatively small, yeah. So those, maybe we can let them leave there. They won't be, they're young maybe and hopefully vigorous, and maybe those will recover, and maybe also if they fall, they won't be that big.
Now the one up by the buried propane tank, aren't they into the roots on that when they bury that tank?
Oh, yeah. But all those belong to them, so they should be able to remove them,
Yeah.
unless the stormwater guy says no. But that's what I think.
Stormwater
We should
guy.
say, you can't keep those trees.
Yeah, I think those trees are gone. I don't know
They're a
how
little
else.
bigger too. The ones in front. The ones toward the back, maybe we let them keep them, leave them and see what happens.
Yeah,
They don't look
there's-
like they're probably that
Should be.
scary.
Yeah, it should be a smaller root zone on those, and yeah, I'm thinking just that the 12, 16, 8 and the 16 in the front there next to the propane tank.
That little row of 4 plus the 12-inch deciduous one,
Well, that
That's
thing's
even
in the
closer.
closer. Gotta be gone, yeah.
those should all be gone.
Yeah.
They're all shown outside their tree fence.
Hmm.
Outside their clearing limits, but only just barely.
Yeah.
And you don't just protect the trunk, you protect the roots.
Oh, yeah, I agree. But I would hope they're taking that into account.
I personally think like what they did on one of the previous ones where they put the propane tank next to the stormwater thing. I mean, I do think that it's probably a guarantee of future rust, but they only have to dig one hole, you know? But
Yeah, I don't know how they would look at that. You know, if maintenance, could maintenance damage one or the other?
Yeah, if you have to dig up the propane tank, are you gonna be digging into the stormwater then?
yeah, and that's another thing I want to talk to the stormwater designer and the county about. They're showing these stormwater designs consistently 10 feet minimum from the front property line, but there's no real reason for that.
Sorry, folks. I had a quick question that turned into a longer one.
That's okay, we entertained ourselves.
That comment needs clarification.
Yeah,
All right.
why we're not closer to the property line with the stormwater treatment?
I did briefly talk to the designer on what, you know, I guess it's the same designer who does them all. And he said he didn't really know. He thought maybe that came from the county. But, and he said that they usually like to, the design manual says they should have minimum setbacks from property lines, but I looked it up and they should also have minimum setbacks from structures. And in my opinion, yes, they should keep it away from the shared property line with the neighbor, but the Sun Valley right-of-way isn't really an issue that I can see. They should be able to put it close to that.
Get
And
it
then it's
further
further
from the
away,
structure. Yeah,
further away from the house. And the design manual says that the main reason for setbacks is for maintenance to be able to be done easily with heavy equipment without disturbing neighbors' properties or the house, you know, the structure. So that argues to me that they should have a minimum setback to the house foundation. But I'm going to have to. I think that needs to be straightened out with the county and the designer and everybody. So
yeah,
for
that sounds
now,
like that sounds like a futures thing. Maybe we can.
it is. It is. So what we want to do here, I think Joel, we were talking about, tell them to remove the little group of 4 trees in the front to the left of the driveway there, right near the property line.
These ones there.
Right, yeah, they're gonna dig it up with the propane tank. The roots are gonna not survive that propane tank being buried.
Yep.
And also the little non-evergreen, just a little bit away from there and also close to the house. That one,
This guy right here.
yeah. They're not going to be able to keep those trees.
How about these 2? Maybe these were already proposed to be removed.
I think they were, yeah.
Okay. Oops.
And then it would also be nice if they pull their excavation limits and silt fence in closer to the house where it goes by those other trees that the owner, that 2 of them are neighbor trees and then some of them are on the lot.
Yeah, they're on the left-hand side there, Joe.
Yeah, the same row of trees.
This is up at our. Oh yeah,
Um,
I see on the site plan here.
Those are small enough that we can probably leave them and see what happens.
Those 8-inch
Um,
ones.
But he should
Yeah.
pull his excavation limits as close as he can to the house and
Okay.
avoid their root zones as much as possible. he can bring it back out where he needs to dig for the propane tank.
Okay.
And on the same sheet on the site profile, the same comment, he's showing natural grade defining the 20-foot structure height.
Mhm.
You should clarify that that's final grade. And give an indication of where in the building envelope that is. Because the 20 feet should be from final grade,
Mhm.
and he needs to show how he's defining.
Yeah,
It
that's,
won't be on the driveway, it should be off to the side.
those were that's how I had it measured to, 20 feet to that natural grade. On the downhill side, they're at 46 feet. So having to meet that natural grade is what is the only way they can meet that height limit. And they're right at 20.
Yeah, no, but I think they need to follow the definition in the appendix.
Mhm. So is it just a matter of labeling that natural grade as final grade?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Although with their,
As long as they're one and the same.
yeah,
Mhm.
and that's 10 feet away from the structure they're allowed to go.
Right.
So if they go 10 feet towards the neighbor there, that should be at the right height for the 20-foot to be a reality. And then if that's too steep to get down to the driveway, once again, I think they need a retaining wall or something.
Yeah, let's see. They had their height at, their proposed elevation was 538. And then, they do have this 520 contour line here.
And 522 is way up here.
And higher. So somewhere in there is between 520 and 522. So that would put them at that, within that 20-foot limit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As long as they,
18.
your second line, though, that's gonna be close.
as long as they leave it high to 10
Mhm.
feet away from the house, because that's 1211.
Mhm. If this is their clearing limit here,
Yeah, they're gonna meet existing then
right?
at the clearing limit. Which is why I think they probably need a wall there again, same as the other house. Because their driveway slab elevation, sorry, their garage slab elevation is 515, is it?
Yeah, 515.
That's about a 5-foot difference there.
Yeah.
So they need to show some kind of a wall, I think. Starting from the home corner and either paralleling the driveway or doglegging over a few feet before they, as much as 10 feet before they parallel the driveway again. But not more than 10 feet, because then they won't meet the height limit maybe.
Yeah,
On the
so-
back corners of the house, he's got his setbacks to the exterior wall. And on mine, I can't read the dimensions.
So this top one up here is 6 foot 3 inches, and this bottom one down here is 7 foot 7 inches. And then you can see, I mean, he's got this. I know this is something else I've been asking him to do. Actual dimensions of eaves, and that's in It's in my notes. If we look at our setback line, that's the dashed line that's drawn on these plans. We're within it on both sides. We're at the 5 foot on the
Okay,
left side.
I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
right on the
Yeah.
corner. Looks like he's in.
It's right there.
Yeah,
Technically, he's got, if it's a 12-inch eve, he's got 3 inches.
Yeah. Let's see, what else do I have on here? You guys got 1 foot eaves. We're within setback. I measured 6 feet on the interior side, 5 feet. 6 feet on the right, 5 feet on the left. 34% property coverage. We have 55% open space remaining. Driveway slopes at 12%. Let's see, I didn't have any big issues on this one either. Now, the usual, I think, let's see, what did they address? The stormwater is now on the site plan. We've got a driveway radius. Propane tank is moved away from the stormwater. Previously, they overlapped. They had some contour lines we were missing. It looks like they've got those fixed. They didn't have a % grade on the driveway. I think they do now.
We good?
Tree types. What's that?
Still going? You're the host now?
Oh, is your thing at 1?
Yeah, I switched you. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just let me know what they determine. I have to get for one thing,
Okay.
and then I'm going into all staff, and then I've got the board meeting tonight. So just let me know what the water is.
All right.
oh, one thing, I noticed their checklist did not have good standing checked.
That was yeah, they were unsure and they made a phone call and Susie confirmed it.
They are in good standing.
Yeah.
They can honestly check that box. That's good.
Yeah. That was a question that came in. And I think I have an email written confirmation. from
So
Susie.
if they're not in good standing, what happens?
They have to be in good standing or else we make them come to good standing or else we won't.
They don't get approved. Okay,
Oh, I see a tree issue in the back. There's the one tree they have back there, they're showing their clearing limits really close.
Yeah, this 12-inch one here.
Yeah.
This.
They can pull their clearing limits closer to the house. Deck
Okay.
foundations typically are just poles.
and just piers.
Here,
concrete piers.
Yeah, this is just a deck back here.
Yeah, I thought I saw that. Well, it's hard to say. I would say that's part of the house.
Oh, the deck?
Yeah.
Yeah, we consider it part of the structure.
Our
From
boards
setbacks.
are running straight through.
what I'm saying is that they may not need their clearing limits to be that far out,
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
all
they
they're doing is putting in piers for the deck foundation. At
Mhm.
least that would be the hope.
Well,
Otherwise, that
they
tree is
always-
going to be in trouble.
another drawing is showing it as an open flat deck on the foundation plan.
Yeah, they've got 2 posts there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So they won't be disturbing the soil for that all that much
Right.
necessarily.
I wouldn't think so.
Do some post-hole digging.
So maybe they could pull their clearing limits further away from that tree.
Okay.
I think we can make a general comment. Trees that are to remain, they need to do their best to avoid the,
Yeah. And we'll be checking for that tree fencing too around that back tree.
yeah.
That will define some of their clearing limit.
Those are pretty good sized footings on the deck. You got 24 by 24 sonotube detail.
But they're not at the corners, right? They're inside a little bit.
It shows them pretty much right at the corners.
Yeah, I don't have the foundation plan in front of me.
Oh, I just had it up here.
Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, it's kind of shown on the sonotube detail number D. It's a pretty good sized footprint.
Mhm.
10 inches deep.
Yeah.
Not that bad though.
Yeah, they are right at the corners, aren't they? They
Yeah.
should be able to pull them back, but,
It's only 10 inches deep. I can't see that damaging roots.
oh, yeah. Yeah, it'll only damage a little bit of root zone, not much.
That's cool.
So,
They should still be able to protect it. It's not that large of a tree.
Yeah, I don't see a problem there.
yeah.
Okay. Are there other issues?
So what do we got? Remove the 5 trees at the left.
Mhm.
Retaining wall along left side of driveway. Including showing us what it'll look like.
Do our notes
Yeah.
tell them they have to remove those trees, or are we just giving them the option?
The 4 of them, the 4 grouping next to the buried tank ought to
Uh-huh.
just come out right up as a matter of course. If they're gonna put that tank in there,
Mhm.
take them out when they're doing their initial clearing.
Yeah.
I agree. They
And that one
initially-
deciduous tree is way too close to the foundation line.
Yeah, initially they had their propane tank on the same location as their stormwater. And so those trees, I think they have left remained, and now that they've moved the propane tank over there, yeah, they're gonna have to come out.
They have to come out.
We can give them the option maybe to move the propane tank back over, but I still think a couple of those trees were a little bigger and the home excavation might be too much for them. I don't know. I forgot. Now the biggest one is 16 inches maybe?
Yeah, well, it was an 18-inch one.
18 inch, okay.
Pretty good sized tree.
18, 16, 12.
Yeah, so I really think we just tell them, even if they do move the propane tank, they probably should just get rid of that bunch.
Mhm.
It's sad. But
Yeah.
we can maybe ask for replanting. I don't know.
Mhm.
If they can keep the rest of those trees, I think we're probably good.
Yeah,
Don't you think?
yeah, replanting a tree right by the propane tank and then they dig up the propane tank.
Yeah, yeah, that doesn't,
Who knows?
yeah.
They should plant a vine maple, that's it.
Then we don't care if they dig it out, okay. So I don't see anything here that's a killer for this. This looks like stuff that can all be addressed afterwards with Joel.
Agreed.
Yeah. Do we like to grant additional parking?
Did they ask for it?
That was one of the questions they're supposed to be here for in the meeting. So it has not
Oh,
been
that'll
requested.
nuke some more trees, right?
It has not been requested yet.
Well, that'll nuke the trees in front, but actually if they're putting their stormwater pipe through there, how big are those trees? There's 3 in front that they were proposing to keep. On the other side there on the right side.
Sorry, my
Have
computer.
it, but it's really, really small. 12 inches, 8 inches, and 10 inches?
Yeah, they look pretty small.
There's a 12 and a 10 and an 8. Mhm.
Yeah.
That looks like
So,
it could be fairly close to Schofield Park. Karen, you live in that neighborhood, right?
wait, no, this is not in gate 1.
Oh, it's not?
This is Topper Drive is up high on the hill, isn't it?
I thought so.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess if they want to park, then they'll have to nuke those trees. And if they don't want to park, they might not have to, especially if they show their stormwater draining maybe next to the driveway instead of in the middle.
Mhm.
You know, that pipe that catches the ditch.
Mhm.
Whether that can work or not, there's a little bit of elevation difference in the ditch then. If they relocate that, it might not work, I don't know. Yeah, because it goes uphill if they relocate it in that direction. So that's the question, do we think the stormwater pipe is enough to nuke those trees or not? And are there other utilities there? There are. Sewer and water are shown also right next to those. And is that where the sewer has to come from?
Hmm.
Was I provided? I don't know if I was provided the water sewer connection map on this one.
Yeah, I think maybe we should just note that if they're damaged during the digging, which Joel will inspect, that they need to come out at that point.
Mhm.
I don't, it's not like they need heavy equipment for 10 inchers.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah. But if they're gonna park, then those need to come out of the way, right?
Yeah, anything up against the edge there would. There's a 12 incher and a 10 incher that would have to probably come out.
Well, they have not requested additional parking yet, but if we can wait and see.
Well, if they do, have them come back for us and we'll look at it then. But
Okay.
it's not even requested now, so let's not worry about it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, so I'll move to approve with notes.
Second,
Uh,
Karen?
Sure.
Okay. And our notes are to address the possible retaining wall next to the house in that corner because of the, what, about a 5-foot grade difference there right there?
Yep.
And grouping 4 trees and clearing limits a little closer to the back to protect that 12-inch tree, correct?
Well, to pull the clearing limits back as far as possible to protect all the trees. They have it bellying out a little bit on the side earlier than I think
Okay.
they need to. So just make it a general comment.
Mhm. Okay. And do we want, are we going to require replanting?
Not with those 4. If we come back and they have to wipe out more because of parking, then those probably would need to replant.
Okay.
But to replant stuff because there's a propane tank there, that we're just setting it up for future maintenance problems.
Yeah.
I mean,
If they have to remove the
should-
propane tank, then they're gonna have to screw with the trees again.
yeah, they should do the native planting.
Yeah, that's a good,
You know, if they just So maybe then they should plant some shrubs or some little baby trees, like vine maple type of trees. That kind of thing is probably fine, if they come along later and dig up the propane tank. It's not going to be a disaster.
Mhm.
Okay,
So native plantings, but not necessarily replanting those species of trees.
Okay, so we're ready for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 I think I heard three, so all opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, it's passed unanimously. And 28 Hillside Place.
We're done. 28. Well, these guys are busy, aren't they?
Yeah, they turned out a whole big batch of these.
there's
We
gonna
have
be,
similar comments. The landscaping plan should be fleshed out. The native plantings. They should pick plants for the sides and the back. And I really don't like that bulrush thing for the sides and the back because that thing grows really tall.
Yeah, it's also for wetland areas. I don't understand why you want to put a rush.
Well, that was what I commented on in your emails, that these people seem to expect all their lots to be wetlands. And maybe they're right, if you remove enough trees, that seems to kind of happen. But they really had picked a whole bunch of wetland plants. So I personally don't like their picks for right close to the house. They should have ferns or something that you can walk through.
Yeah.
Oh, this is another, they want the driveway profile.
yeah, let me see if they've got an updated drive. So I was measuring a really steep 40% driveway slope based, putting my ruler to the table because they did not have any indicator there. So I've got a new.
Oh, 22 degrees.
Let's see. Page 1. So you guys, the new set is in the Google Drive. I'll drop it here in the OneNote for me. But, so this is a cluster, part of a cluster lot. They have not proposed to put the driveway in the parking lot. We're gonna run it up from the street. Let's see. So just some of the comments I had with the builder, the concrete exposure, we talked about, either lowering the siding or painting along the foundation. Requested the driveway slope markings, degrees, percentage. Here we go.
Yeah, I used their garage slab elevation and our profile, our driveway shape. And for that garage slab elevation to work, they need 33%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, they're showing 22 right there.
So this was one, yeah, I remember this conversation. So we talked about this because there was no 22-degree slope on there indicated. Now there is. However, let's compare this to their previous site plan. do they have even
On
have
the
one?
checklist, they show 11 degrees or 11%.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Percentage is different than degrees.
I
It
know
is.
that. So here's their
We
old.
look 25%, right?
We can compare these. Here's their original site plan that was submitted, and here is their updated one that claims a slope of 22 degrees. So we're at about, let's see, 10 benchmark 106 at the property corner. That's what they say, and then we get up to about 114, about 115. Oops. And then on their old one, they're still at about 114 at the oh no, sorry, 106 at the property corner. And they're at about maybe they're right, 113.
Yeah,
Oh no, sorry, this is 113 here.
113.7 is what they're showing for the garage slab. And the
Right.
survey shows at the edge of pavement, in the middle, it's about 101.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 12.7 feet. They have to
Jeez.
transition.
So they have not changed this when their revised plans. versus
They
the
actually
old
changed
one.
it, changed the drawing to show a little drain swale, which they cannot afford to do.
Down here, yeah.
They need the strip drain option.
They don't need a driveway, they need stairs.
Yeah. So if they go straight up at, the 9 feet at 23%, and from the top, the 3.5 feet at 18% that we require for the transitions, then the space that's remaining for point A to connect to point B, according to my calculation, needs to have a 33% slope, which is a lot.
Yeah, that's,
Which doesn't meet our criteria at all anymore. So unless they can come back with something that does, I'd kill this one until they come back with something that gets closer to meeting it.
are there any other issues on this one? Is that one?
It might be, but
that
one thing, this is a really steep lot. So to my mind, the only way they can really meet the driveway profile is to have a double daylight basement, the kind where the 2 stories are kind of at least half buried. It's been done. In gate 1, there's tons of those, where the house is, from the low side is like 50 feet high or something, and the bottom 2 or 3 stories are literally buried in the back. How much rock excavation they would have to do is something I have no idea. So
I think those foundations are stair step going up the hill though, aren't they?
no, the siding is, but you can
Oh.
see the light lines or the foundations.
Okay.
Yeah, to have a garage, they have to have it go back straight for at least 20 feet.
Yeah, yeah.
And the house is pretty narrow front to back. I forgot what it was exactly, but it's. So it may be that this is one of those situations where we give them an exception because it's otherwise very difficult.
But we're talking 33%. That's not even close.
I know.
Or is 22?
Well, 22% is below our requirement, but 22 degrees, I'm not sure what that works out to in percent.
Equals,
No, they're showing 22 degrees.
Yeah.
22 degrees is 40%.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So when
Run it through the calculator.
that's what I came up with in measuring the plans. We got about 6 feet of rise over 15 feet of run,
Yeah, that doesn't work.
40%. And
That
there's
doesn't,
no,
that's not even close to our guidelines on that. I don't know how we,
Yeah. Why would
Right.
you propose something like that?
Well, and
It's not
the,
our job to redo this thing if it doesn't fit.
right, it's their problem to fix. I agree. What frustrates me is that they've submitted the exact same driveway and they've just put a label on there that says 22 degrees and it's not accurate.
Well, wait, 22 degrees might be accurate. 40,
Oh,
40%.
Oh, is that what they say? Is it, sorry.
No, I mean, if it's degrees,
Yeah, if it's 22 degrees, that's 40%.
Okay, so it is. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting lost here. Right, 25% is the,
which is 14 degrees.
right. No, you're right. It's way over.
It is. Their garage slab elevation suggests only 33%, which is better than 40%, but still quite a bit different from 25.
Mhm. So
So
it is accurate. All right. Okay,
correct, but not really good.
yeah, and there's no variance for this submitted, so.
So if I wasn't running this meeting, I'd move to deny at this point.
I would move to deny right now.
Okay,
Okay, second. Anybody want to second that?
Are we done discussing everything else that may be wrong? Other notes?
Oh,
Let's make sure we give them a good checklist.
oh, trees that they should remove.
I don't know how they can fix that, but
Yeah.
Yeah. If they can fix that,
I'll second it.
they do have trees that they should remove.
Okay,
Same
we
thing as
probably
last-
should make a total list on this. Yeah, I'm sorry.
There's, again, 4 of them on the right, I mean, on the left side there next to the driveway. I don't see how they can keep any of those.
that cluster.
Yeah,
these guys here.
Yeah.
We talked about this tree, this 36-inch one, and how their
yeah, that
sewer
one
line is
too.
going through it, and we proposed to move it closer to the edge of the lot or near to the driveway.
Is the sewer connection, do you know where that is?
I don't have the maps for this, but this isn't their sewer connection.
That's their stormwater?
Yeah, that's their stormwater. Did I say sewer?
No, you didn't. I'm just wondering about the
There's
sewer.
a sewer line that Mark.
Because we can't
Sewer
really,
is Mark going right there
going where?
by the tree.
Where?
There, isn't that a sewer line going right down there by the tree? They got it labeled sewer.
Got right through the middle of the tree.
Oh, that's
Here?
storm sewer.
This is our stormwater here.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Unless you're looking at somewhere else.
I was looking at the site plan. And they got a
Okay.
heavy line going right through there and it's labeled sewer.
I could confirm that with that location with Lake Wacom. Sometimes the planners, whoever's drawing this up, they're not given that information, so they're just drawing a line on here, arbitrary to show it somewhere. But
oh, yeah,
I could try to confirm that location.
yeah, I see that. It's almost the same parallel to the stormwater. Like,
Mhm.
and the power and cable are on that side right now too, but closer to the lot line. Those could be relocated if necessary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lake Wacom Water Sewer District is really good at providing us with the maps.
Yeah. So that's the thing, if the sewer is on that side, then that tree can't be kept either.
Mhm.
And actually, it can't be kept, I think it can't be kept either, because it's too big, right? I mean, even when they're digging their stormwater trench and their propane tank, that'll be kind of close.
Mhm. So on this one, they've updated the propane tanks to be in the back,
Oh, okay.
the vertical back side of the house.
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus.
I thought I had the
Well, yeah,
latest.
fill it.
I didn't do that. Okay, well, that's good.
So if they don't trench anything,
Mhm,
except maybe right next to the driveway,
mhm. They could have to go down by the driveway.
then they could maybe keep that tree.
So maybe reposition stormwater and sewer if possible.
And power and cable. Oh. Close to the driveway,
Yeah, with the intention to protect that 30 tree
right?
in right away.
And if that's not possible, then they should show that tree removed.
Stones removed.
And maybe we can replant that, that's okay.
How deep do those stormwater tanks have to go?
Like 4 feet, I think. They're
Okay.
3 feet high and then 1 foot below, above, a fill above.
Yeah, we can take a look at that.
So power and cable could come in above it.
Yeah, or next to it, between that and the driveway.
Generally, is there what stormwaters look like? Yeah. 4 feet deep looks like the minimum. Well, plus.
Yeah, it's going in a pretty flat area.
Mhm.
So it'll be 1 foot minimum and 1 foot 6 inch or something like that maximum probably. If they put it diagonal, it'll be perfectly flat. From one end to the other, but anyway.
Okay, so we have sewer reposition, stormwater reposition if possible, power cable, protect that 36-inch tree in the right of way.
Yeah,
Proposed
either
replanting.
reposition all of those next to driveway
Mhm.
or show that tree removed.
Yeah, and the driveway slope is the killer for this one.
Yeah, and I don't see a fuse panel. I don't know where they're planning on coming in with their power.
Yeah, it shows it as on the right side of the house. Power and cable, it's labeled in the site plan.
I was looking on the interior walls.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Site plan.
Yeah, I don't see the electrical panel either. It'll probably be in the garage. Is my
Yeah, that's typically where they put them.
what I most commonly see. But
yeah, in this case, that's not where they're showing it.
do they have
Unless
that?
they bring it over right by the foundation or something, or I don't know.
Right, they'd be running it under the foundation and under the,
Yeah,
and that's assuming that they bring power, from this top area.
And I'm showing 2 vertical propane tanks towards the back of the house on the top there.
Oh, yeah, sorry, they've originally they had the propane tank in the front. And they
Right.
moved it on the site plan.
Now it's inside that clouded area right there.
Yeah, am I on the right plan here? Where's it going? Where am
I
I?
thought I had the latest one, but I'm not getting that.
The latest one is dated 5/24.
Yeah, that's the one I got. My site plan's not showing that.
It shows it in the front there, buried.
Yeah,
When
Right.
I'm looking at the clouded area that Joel shows on his drawing, I have 2 round propane tanks in there up against the house.
hmm. So there must be something or a different page. What? It's
There.
not on the site plan. The site plan hasn't been updated then.
Now here it is. Let's go in.
There, yeah, right there. That's it.
Yeah, I've got them as vertical propane tanks on this one. On my
So-
screen.
What
And then
Is it?
this is.
I thought I had the same sheet you had up, but my site plan is showing it buried in the front.
Yeah, I've got 2 different versions here.
Yeah, mine shows 2 different versions as well.
Yeah,
In the same packet?
On the same drawing. Yeah, they show the buried propane tank in front.
mhm.
Yeah, see, mine actually still shows the buried propane tank in the front off the driveway.
Yeah.
There, yeah, that one right there. So mine has a combination of the 2.
So these are, yeah, they've moved them on the original plan. Hang on here.
You're looking at 2 site plans?
Yeah, so on their original plan submittal, they had the propane tanks in the back.
On the
And now
original,
on the new one, they have it in the front listed as buried.
huh?
Okay. I had it backwards. I thought they had moved them to the back, but it looks like they're
Moved it to
moving
the
them
front.
front.
A hell of a lot easier to fill there.
Okay, so then can we modify our comment about the tree in the front? If they're, if they're gonna bury their propane tank there, then they need to remove that tree.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to come out.
Okay, got it.
So maybe we just tell them to remove the tree. I don't know.
Which may alter their stormwater calculations again. That's a big tree.
And removing these trees down here as well.
Yeah.
Definitely that one that's right up against the corner of the house. There's no way they could save that one.
Okay.
That's
I think
within
they
5
can't
feet.
save any of them.
Yeah. You think any of them would be saved?
No.
Well, it's going to change depending on what they do with the driveway.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they're doing excavating from the natural for that driveway.
I suppose we could deny with other comments to follow once they get it fixed.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have for my notes on this one. Property coverage and the cluster lot rules apply. So they're at, and I've got them at 37.2% for property coverage, but that doesn't apply in this case. And then they're at 56% open space remaining, including that northern parking area. So they get to have a quarter interest of the square footage of that parking area included in their open space coverage. So then without it, they don't meet it. With it, they do. the driveway slope is the deal killer, sounds like.
Yeah. And if they
Okay,
resubmit, I'd like to see them pick, I'm noticing this note here, pick plants, in other words, use the Lake Quaccum worksheet to create their landscaping plan rather than just punt on the landscaping plan and
Mhm.
reference that, because it's not a landscape plan, it's just a tool.
Mhm. I certainly think that the landscape plan language on the ACC policies could use some updating to reflect that, planning, asking for, it says detailed professional plan, but if we want to be specific about asking for the schedule and stuff, we can put that in there so that then there's no there's no ambiguity there, and hopefully we can then they can read it and see, oh, okay, they want to.
Yeah, actually, if we ask for,
Yeah.
writing for a professional landscape plan, that's actually a higher standard than what we're asking right now. That would show every single plant, every single area, exactly what species and, so on, is what a professional landscape plan would be. So we're just saying, put an arrow to the left side of the house, right side of the house, say sword ferns every 2.5 feet or something like that. That's enough so that you, hopefully Joel, and tell me if I'm wrong, you can inspect and clearly know whether they passed or not.
Right. No, I would like the more explicit language that I have in front of me to go by, the clearer that makes my job as well, and what I can inspect and look for. I did talk to this designer, Todd Fuller, on the phone, and he told me that I'm not a professional landscape designer. So that right there tells me that
it's not a professional level.
right. I mean,
Doesn't
If you
matter,
were
it's
drawn,
required in the middle.
yeah, at what level of standard? And so I think if we wanted to update the language for the landscaping plan, say professional landscaping plan required, including these items.
Okay. So
Are we comfortable with the setback on the back side of the house? I mean, it shows it right on the line, or
still 5 foot though, right?
At the rear, I'm
it's not dimensioned.
5 feet to the deck. Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't have the dimension there, but
Yeah.
here's the line.
Yeah. That's a pathetic little deck.
That's it. The only killer is the slope, and that's not even close enough to work with for negotiation on that. As far as he just needs to come back with something that'll work.
Yeah.
Because this isn't working.
Oh, there was one. Let me see. There was one more thing here. We do have a projection into our 20-foot front
Yes, we do.
overhang. I have it marked as 19. Let me see. Did he put in a variance request for that? We're at 28. Oh yeah, he did have the variance request for. Oh, he has a variance for the slope of his driveway. That's what it is. I asked him to bring back this 19 foot, or this 1 foot intrusion into the 20-foot setback, so that makes it at 19 feet. And it looks like it has not been addressed.
Yeah, I can see he's intending, I guess, his front walk is basically just that porch.
Mhm.
And people are supposed to walk to the driveways between the post and the house. So if he pulls that back, I guess he just has to change the front walk.
I do see one variance request, but it's on the driveway.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Denied.
I guess if he can solve the driveway, I have no problem giving him a 1-foot variance on the front.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't know how he can fix the driveway.
Yeah. So we should make a note of the,
Yeah,
so I think we can, pre-approve that.
well, everything needs to come back, but you got Joel, you got the list of stuff. I tried to capture it on that spreadsheet. And of course, Karen will always send a detailed list out to everybody, so you can
I
make
like
sure.
it.
So you can double check what you have against what Karen comes up with. And but we have a motion on the table now to deny, and we've got our list of comments and reasons on that. So are we ready to vote?
Yeah, I think Keith seconded the motion, right?
Yep, Keith already seconded it. So we are all in favor of denial.
Aye.
Say aye.
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 Tom, did I hear you?
Yes, I had my hand up and said aye.
Okay.
Unanimous.
And so that's everybody. So that's passes unanimous. That denial, it is denied unanimously.
Works for me.
And the primary reason is driveway slope.
So do we have to include in there that the variance is denied?
Yeah,
Basically, they're both denied because of that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I can't even picture what he could do to make that one work with.
An elevator, maybe?
you'd have to have 2 of his 3 stories buried in the back, I think.
So this one being the cluster lot. Let's see, do I have the plat map here? I know
How are they
this.
coming in from the side? Can he come in from the side at all and make something work in there?
Yeah, so that's the idea behind this P lot here, this P15, is that they can bring a common parking area here that can serve all 4 of these lots.
Gotcha.
And so that they have a parking space. Now, I think the issue he's running into is he's got this house on his lot, which is 290 here, is so big that trying to put a driveway here, I think will violate his the open space rule that he still needs to count for. And then that's going to change, his stormwater and everything like that.
Yeah, another issue, which you can tell on the survey, but also really hits in person, that open space, that parking lot has a little flat area at the bottom, but then it's really steep, including steep towards this lot. So again, he'd still have this problem of having to jump from the street level and that street level is lower there. So he'd have even higher, he'd have greater length to do it in, but he'd have a greater height to make too. So I can see why nobody is using that P lot. And I would wonder if the lots in the back are actually Sun Valley open space because of that. I don't know, I haven't looked.
One of them shown as a park right below 289 there.
Yeah. So if people own 289 and 288, I feel sorry for them.
Well, they're going to have no choice but to use that P15, that common space. Well, it's like we said, some of these lots just aren't buildable. But they're a problem.
And I got to send you guys that there's a stormwater report done in 1982 for Sun Valley. Apparently, originally, the developer subdivided over 4,000 lots.
Wow.
Like that one, exactly.
The drainage system.
4,500 lots or something like that.
Mhm.
And the difference between that and what we have now is partly people combining lots and partly Sun Valley putting lots into open space.
Mhm.
But that developer just he had chutzpah.
It was pretty lax back there in the early days.
Yeah, both of those lots, both 288 and 289 on my map are green, are showing as Sudden Valley.
What a surprise.
Maybe, yeah.
That would make sense.
Good.
Are 258 and 257 built on?
257 is green, 258 is built on. So 257 is Sudden Valley also. Common area, yeah. They really should have picked this one up for common area too, instead of sticking it to someone to try to build on it.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch like that around the valley.
They made the choice to buy it.
Yeah, way back when, before anybody knew any better. Some of these. The lot in front of me, the owner is Canadian, an old Canadian gentleman. And well, the owner until a developer just bought it. Anyway, that's a good lot. I mean, it's difficult to develop, but it's right there in a very good, nice location. But he also owned another lot up on the hill that was even worse than anything we've seen, because it had a stream with stream boundary, I mean stream buffer, occupying about half that steep lot, and then one of those narrow roads up on the hill where it drops off steeply right from the edge of pavement. So for the 20-foot setback, they'd already be like suspended in the air, and they'd be in the stream buffer. And so basically that was this nightmare lot, and he was trying to get us to look at buying it.
I've got some neighborhood news that'll make you guys smile. The house 3 doors down from me, they put up for sale last week. And it's one of the older homes, probably 2,400 square feet or so, needs paint, roof, gutter, some updating. They listed it for $750. The first day, the first offer they got on it was $820. It sold the first day for $70,000 over market.
It's a
No
crazy
appraisal,
market.
no inspection. Stay in it as long as you want. We'll take it when you move out.
Oh, wow.
It blew me away.
Yeah,
I know the one right down the street from us went on, it was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, has a view of the lake, but it went on for, what you want, $530 for it, and it ended up having 11 offers all over, and it ended up going for $600,000 on a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Wow.
yeah. I mean, if we didn't need a place to live, we'd all be able to put our houses on the market and make it real
Hopefully.
good.
You know, when I heard that, I kind of drove down on the lakefront and looked for houses for sale. Get my windows off the golf course.
Everybody remember that one we had so much fun on that looks like a newfangled thing on Windward Drive that the builder kept ignoring us and just paying fines for? That sold almost right away to a Canadian couple for, what was it, about $950,000 or something. And they finally got down to it, stayed in it 2 nights. It's back on the market again. They don't want it.
Wow. Must be nice to have that kind of money.
Yeah, really. But I don't know how long that'll take to sell. If anybody really takes a look at what that's like inside, that might be a while.
And when I was driving down to 46 Windward, I did pass a blue house that made me understand some of the hatreds of blue.
I'll have to,
Glows in the dark.
every time that comes up, I have to tell them I voted against those colors twice.
Yeah, that thing glows in the dark.
Yeah, it does. It's really,
You know-
that's one of our examples of why we don't do that.
Oh, is Keith still
Should we
here?
let go lead now? I think we are done
Keith,
here,
I
aren't we?
think Keith, doesn't Keith need to, or maybe he already has, bring our new color colors before the board for approval?
Oh,
thought
I
we-
haven't even seen new colors, or I just read about that the ACC had picked out new approved colors, but I haven't seen one of them or heard anything about them.
I thought we
Right, get
approved the
together.
palette last time, but they were gonna throw a couple more in there.
Were
yeah.
they? I
Yeah,
thought
for-
they were just gonna take out the orange, the, whatever that was, yellow,
Take out
and designate four of the lightest ones as trim only.
trim.
yeah, you're
That's
right.
what we voted on.
You're right. What
Do those-
what do your notes say?
And
don't
know.
Susie emailed that out,
Yeah.
the original one to everybody.
Yeah, I don't think those need to go to the board on, for the color palettes. So I
Well,
think that's
it's
our.
part of
that's
our policies is why, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it'll be a rubber stamp, but
yeah.
Yeah, for the majority, I like the new palette.
yeah, we need to get it published. Our new policies with our new and improved color palette.
Yeah, at least this time it's something that's designed for forested landscapes. So hopefully it gives everybody something here to work with. So are we done?
I think so.
I'm ready for some lunch.
Anybody want to move for adjourning the meeting?
Move to adjourn?
Adjourn. I'll second.
Okay,
Approved.
meeting
All right.
is,
Do we know what's happening with Norm? Has he left?
well, I haven't heard anything about Norm.
He's definitely in violations of the unexcused absences.
Yeah, so maybe our new committee chair can contact him and find out.
That's with him? Yeah. Be a good idea.
Thanks.
I think it's 4 in a row now that he's missed.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. Yes.
All right, guys, have a good day.
Thanks, Keith. We'll see you next meeting.
All right, on that note,
All right. Everybody have a good weekend.
yeah, you
Long
too.
weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.